Hello, listening people.
Hi.
You're listening to Spit and Polish presents Unappreciated Masterpieces. I'm one of your hosts, Ryan Sawinski.
And I'm his friend.
Hello, friend.
Hi, friend.
Do you have a name?
Yeah.
What?
Conclusion, friend.
Hello, Conclusion.
But people
friend.
call me Bartek.
Hi, Bartek. How are you?
Yeah, right.
You very good?
Yeah.
You feeling pumped for today's episode on Unappreciated Masterpieces?
Now I am.
Oh, he pumped himself up real good.
Yeah,
so...
I pushed my palm into my other palm, but like air doing
you
it.
can make up a scenario in which you had an actual air pump, but you don't have to.
But then it would have to be inside me in some way. And that's a bad thought.
That's a great thought. So, we're inside of you as you're listening, because our voices are going inside of your eardrums
Now,
for
hey,
this episode
Ryan,
of the podcast.
Now, a little rule about English, when you tend to use things like you, it tends to refer to the last person that was referred to. So were you talking about being inside me?
I am, technically. My words are going inside your
Are
ears.
you the pump? Not that there's a pump in me.
So we are doing our show. I'm just not going to answer that. You know the answer. We are doing Unappreciated Masterpieces, a show in which we do an a feature-length audio commentary for films that seemingly don't deserve a commentary. These are the films that have been forgotten, left behind. Maybe you remember them, but maybe they're not the greatest films, or maybe they are, because we say yes, because they're masterpieces. These are the films that deserve more love, more attention, because at the end of the day, someone had an idea, and they wanted to share that idea with an executive at Hollywood, and they agreed that this was a good idea, and put money behind it. Actors, director, cinematographer, costume people, all these people worked very hard on a movie that just didn't get the love from the audience that it deserves. These are films that aren't necessarily hated, but they aren't necessarily loved either. There might be some exceptions to the rules on that. We've done some movies that are absolutely detested or absolutely loved, but they're usually in that category where people go, "Oh, that one." I don't usually hear people podcasting about that movie. That's right, because we're brave. That's why.
Well, we're not doing Brave, but
we are spin Polish, likely because we're always spinning, and we are both Polish
and not Scottish.
No. Unlike Brave, which has a Scottish person in it who was in Trainspotting. Will Trainspotting be related to the movie we're doing today, Bartek? What is the movie we're doing? I can't tell. I'm in the episode. I can't read the episode title because I'm in the episode.
And I haven't seen Trainspotting, so I don't know if that's a yes or no answer.
It's a yes. Trainspotting is related to the movie we're doing today.
Okay, Ryan will explain later.
Okay.
What was the other question? What are
What's
we doing?
the movie?
I can't say yes to that. I have to tell you the title.
Yep.
The title of the film we are doing today is Do Diabla z Miłością. Why are you laughing, Ryan? That's the title.
Say it again?
Do Diabla z Miłością.
What is this, a Diablo game?
No.
So, I don't know, Bartek.
It's not a game.
We're watching a movie. Are we watching the Diablo movie?
There's a Diablo movie?
Sure, why not? Is that it? Are we doing that? What's the movie? I don't speak Polish.
Wait, what?
I don't speak the language. I'm got the Polish heritage, but not the language. I'm so sorry. I don't know how to say sorry in Polish. Soz.
Przepraszam.
I'm shaprosos. So,
Przepraszam.
what's the movie?
To translate Do Diabla z Miłością, it's To Hell with Love.
To Hell with Love? I don't know that movie. Are we watching that?
Me neither, right? It's a localized title.
Oh, so what's the actual movie?
The actual movie is the great 2003 movie,
Oh, I love 2003.
Down with Love.
Down with Love.
Down with Love.
Down, not up, but down with love.
Here's the genius thing, Ryan. You know how the Polish title To Hell with Love?
Yeah.
Which way's hell?
Oh, fuck.
Down.
It's down.
Yeah.
Well, we got an episode that is about Down with Love, but we
can't tell you how long it is because we have to finish it.
We have to have an episode with a guest who's down with Love. That's right. We have to have a guest who is
double down.
Double down. Are we doing the Neil Breen movie, Double Down?
No, we're doing the Blackjack
unfortunately,
film.
no. We are joined by a guest that has been long awaited, some might say. Me specifically, because I've been asking them for 2 years and a bit. Almost 3.
Since Empire Records, I
Since
think.
Empire Records to come on the show. They're like, yeah, I'll come. And they cancel last minute. Did they cancel last minute this episode? You'll have to find out in 3, 2, 1. Hello, Kaz Dawes.
Why, hello there, Ryan. and
Kaz,
Bartek.
how
Hello.
are you?
I'm very well. How are you?
I'm great, you're here.
I am here, and I am down with love.
You are down with love, double down love.
Double downing love.
I have to answer her question. I'm good too.
I'm glad to hear that, Bartek.
Thank you.
Great.
I don't think she is. She sounds
I am.
very apathetic about it.
She's got a nice smile though, so
A big smile
That's
for a
right.
podcast, that's what counts.
I'm very excited to be here.
So, guys, at home listening, or on,
On the
the
bus.
train, or in a sex den, I don't know where you are. Maybe you're listening to this in the 60s when the movie is set. I don't know. Maybe you're a time traveler. Maybe you just really wanted to be down with love. So, you have to have a copy of the movie with you, or you don't have to, but it's usually good because I'm going to do a countdown from 3. I'm going to say play, and you press play as well, and you watch the movie along with us. Of course, it's always good to watch it without the sound so you can hear us, but hey, if you want us to compete against Ewan McGregor, I'm fine with that.
So,
I
Ryan, you're
reckon we
giving-
could take him on.
you're giving some mixed signals. Like, have a copy with you, but you might be on the bus. Like,
Well, they have a phone, Bartek.
I mean,
You can watch things on your phone now.
It is on Netflix.
really?
It's on
Yeah.
Netflix. You could watch it on your phone on Netflix.
Oh.
So there you go. So give
So,
you.
do you have to have a copy then if it's
Well-
on Netflix?
Well, if your country has a copy of it, yes. And also, if you're watching it on your phone, sometimes you use that little Netflix feature that's download, so you can download it onto your phone. There you go.
This
This is using your brain
Ideas,
knuckle.
man.
This episode brought to you by Ryan's brain.
Knuckle. Ryan's brain knuckle. That's what I called it just then.
Okay.
So get ready, because I'm going to start this movie for everyone, including us, in 3, 2, 1, play. So we are 2 seconds in, 3 seconds in, 4 seconds for those at home. And if you want to know right now, 7 seconds. This is all podcast, guys. It's 10 seconds. 11. So let's just dive into this masterclass of cinema by me explaining to Bartek how this film's related to Trainspotting. The lead star in the movie Trainspotting is Ewan McGregor, and it's possibly his most famous, it's probably his most well-known role.
Trainspotting?
Yeah.
Yep.
Other than Obi-Wan Kenobi. Yeah, him as Renton in Trainspotting, that's his most well-known role, other than Obi-Wan.
Okay.
So it's kind of cool to have Ewan McGregor in this movie, because he's awesome. Let's dive deep into the...
Oh, speaking of Empire Records, yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot.
What do you mean?
Renee Zellweger.
Yes, Renee Zellweger was in Empire Records. We've had Renee in, like, just that one, or we had her...
That's
in
all
another
I
one?
remember.
We haven't had Ewan on the show before. I'm so glad that he's joined us for a guest appearance in a movie.
Very nice of him to.
I'm going to ask the
Stop
obvious
by.
question, Kaz.
Yes.
Bartek, what's your history with this movie? Have you heard of it before?
Yeah, my friend Ryan told me about it, and he said, let's do it on the podcast.
And that's it?
And that's it. It's one that, because we're scheduling a few episodes in a short period of time, and I remembered the second film's title, but not this one, so I had to ask Ryan, what was the film called again? And you were like, Down with Love.
Down with love!
And I'm like, that's nice, Ryan, but what's the film called?
Oh, yeah. So, Kaz, what is your history with this movie? Have you seen it before?
I have seen it before. Watched it very recently.
For this?
For this, yeah.
When did you see it? At the cinema?
No, I watched it on Netflix.
Oh.
I literally have only just watched it, but
So wait, you hadn't seen it before having to watch it for this show?
I thought I had, but it turns out I hadn't.
Yeah, because when we messaged each other, fun fact, sometimes I give a guest a choice of what movie they're going to have by saying, which actor do you want to pick? Mm-hmm. And I gave Kaz the option of Hugh Jackman or Ewan McGregor. And then I was just like, Kaz broke the rule by being like, yeah, but what are the movies?
I need more
And she
answers.
chose Down with Love.
What was the Hugh Jackman one?
Swordfish, the movie that asked can John Travolta and Hugh Jackman and Halle Berry be computer hackers?
Ah, that one.
Pretty
and the
cool
movie that
film,
also
actually.
asked, do you want to see Halle Berry's breasts? And I'm like, yes.
Damn.
She demands $500,000 though for just that one scene. That's a trivia fact about the movie. So you had not seen
Wow.
this movie. You thought you did.
Yeah, I thought I did, and then
What movie do you think that it is?
I don't know.
Empire Records?
Although now I'm watching it now. Does anyone? I mean, this isn't what I actually thought I'd seen, but the credits remind me of
Catch Me If You Can?
Catch Me If You Can, yes,
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
and Pink Panther,
Yep.
and I Dream of Jeannie.
Yep. because this is the kind of credits that they had in the 60s.
Yeah.
Yeah, even the 20th Century Fox thing was like old style.
Yeah, and had the CinemaScope thing at the beginning.
Yeah.
So you hadn't seen it, but you thought you did.
Yeah,
Ooh.
weird.
So none of us had seen this movie before having to do it for the show, because I had not seen it before having to do it for the show. But
Did someone close to you see it?
yes, I'm going to go into this. I have a weird history with this movie already.
Yeah, I've been excited
without
for this.
having an actual history with the movie. So I was looking through movies, and for some reason I do this. I look at actors' IMDb profiles. I like to read trivia. I like to see what movies they've been doing over their career. And I was looking at Ewan McGregor because I was having a debate with someone about Ewan McGregor being in a certain movie, and I was right. As always, it was I Love You, Philip Morris. A movie worth watching, by the way. And I looked at this movie and I said, "What's this?" And my fiance Rachel, she said, "Oh, I fucking hate that movie." And I went, "What's wrong with it?" And she goes, "You should do it for the show though, because it might actually be better than I remembered it." And I just went, "Well, what's so hateable about it?" And this is what I got pitched. It's a musical romantic comedy with Ewan McGregor.
I'm laughing at the musical part.
And I went, "Oh, okay." And then I went to IMDb. And on IMDb, the genre listed is comedy, romance, musical.
Okay.
And I went, "Oh, it's going to be a musical."
So there was consistency in what you're learning.
What I'm learning. And I didn't read the synopsis. I just went, "Oh, okay, so I know what movie it is, what year, so I can say to Bartek and Kaz, 2003, Down with Love." And, if sometimes with guests or sometimes with you, Bartek, I might link you the thing to be like, "Yeah, this movie," because sometimes we have movies that have
a Taiwanese drama.
the movies with the same name from different years, right? So it's good to know.
I don't think the Taiwanese dramas are
So
good, though.
it goes from there, and I went, "Oh, my fiance absolutely hates this movie." But what from I can get from it, from looking at the visuals and understanding it's a romantic comedy musical, I went, "Why wouldn't she like it? It's got Ewan McGregor in it. He's great." And it's got Renee Zellweger. She's awesome. And it's got Sarah Paulson in it, who's always smoking in everything she's in. And we get introduced to her with nothing but her smoking in an elevator. Oh, the 60s, what a time. But my fiance then said to her colleagues at work, "Oh, Ryan's doing for the podcast this weekend, Down with Love." And these fellow women all went, "Oh, that movie, I hate that movie. I could barely watch it. It's not good. I couldn't even get through it. It's just way too corny and just awful." And I'm just like, "Oh boy, this is piling up." And then I get a message from Bartek, which to me was very ominous, which is just like, "Hey, Ryan, you know anything about this movie?"
Before you picked
it, and I'm just like, "Oh boy, I know the actors, and then it's a romantic." I even said musical to you in that message, and I got no response
I must
from that.
have missed that.
And then Bartek's like, "Oh boy," and Bartek's just ominous, and I'm just like, "Well, did you like it?" And you're just like, "I don't want to spoil it,
But sure,
But sure, and I'm like, that sounds so resigned.
I really didn't want to give Ryan any sort of like expectations.
And I was just building up on this tower, this house of cards waiting to blow over. And then I watched the movie, and I was laughing so hard during this movie, because it's doing exactly what it's set out to do.
Exactly. Yeah, I agree.
It's a perfect, like, this sequence here is great, where they're listing off all their names, and then he's like...
Initials,
yeah, and then he's downstairs with TB, and he's like, "Oh, is he okay?"
Like tuberculosis.
Yeah, tuberculosis. And it has all these great... That guy, the guy with the glasses, he's a great actor. He's from the TV show Psych. He plays the detective who's like, "I don't think you're psychic." And he's great. He's wonderful. And I'm like, "Oh, this guy's in the movie." And then this guy's in the movie. Like, everyone's in this movie. And it just I looked at the opening credits, and I was excited, because I'm like, it's doing the visual style of the 60s. It's got all these cool people in it. But I was biting my fingernails, being like, "But when's it going to turn shit?" Because everyone's had this
something
reaction.
about it. Yeah.
There's something about it. And
See, I was completely blind. I had no idea what was going to happen.
And then a part of me was like, the soundtrack to this movie, like the score with this 60s kind of music, and the way that they're this is very choreographed. This is a musical on a level without the musical moments in it, because they're choreographed walking and movement, and like he's taking off his glasses in time with the music and all this stuff, and I was like, when's the music gonna come in? Like,
it looks like any second they'll break into song.
The credits.
During this sequence here, I was waiting for the men to start talking to her, being like, coffee, dun 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 dun, coffee, dun 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 dun, coffee, dun dun, and just like all this music.
None for me.
None for me. And then her going, ha, in time with the music, ha, ding, 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 and then he goes, I'll have a scotch, and then she goes, oh, and it's like,
Still nothing for me.
I thought it was going to keep going like this, but then the music never happened.
It never did.
But then the end credits were like, I heard about you, Ryan. You thought it was a musical? Here's a musical number for the end credits.
Which the actors insisted on, yeah.
And
they?
Yeah, because they were like, oh, we don't want to miss this opportunity. It'll be great to do
true.
it.
Yeah.
And this is Renee Zellweger post Chicago, isn't it?
Oh, yeah,
Chicago's like
she's
2002.
That's specifically what the trivia was saying. They were both in a musical film, Moulin Rouge in Chicago, and they were like, it would be a sin if we didn't have a duet.
And I agree. I
It was
agree.
perfect.
I agree.
I agree with the knowledge that when they did it, then yeah. But if
I
they
wish
didn't,
there was musical numbers throughout the whole thing. I guess that's my one sin against it, was I had an expectation and it didn't necessarily meet it, but it met it with something else.
yeah.
I'm just going to say it right. I don't want to cock tease the audience, but my favorite character is David Hyde Pierce's character as his friend.
Oh, yeah.
His boss.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's my favorite.
Great role.
I had to keep reminding myself, he's the boss.
He's his boss.
Because they play it strong at the beginning, but then after that, they're basically like co-worker.
Yeah, they're just, buddies.
If anything, Catch is his boss by the end of
Pretty
the
much,
movie.
he's calling the shots.
So, Kaz,
Yes.
since you had not seen the movie before,
Yes.
what did you think this movie was going to be about? And then what did you actually get?
I thought it was going to be a cheesy rom-com set in the 60s. Like it's
Like a
sort of-
Matthew McConaughey rom-com
Yeah,
where
yeah.
it's like he's leaning on things and he's like, hey.
Yeah, because it's actually on Netflix. It's like when I searched for it, it's actually beside How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days.
Classic
which is
movie.
interesting. Yeah, so that I didn't want to set my expectations too high. But then I got this. I love the move. Like Renee Zellweger, I think she's brilliant in it.
Yes.
Her
Movements?
the way she walks, yeah, she's got everything.
Oh, yeah. When she hops out of the jacuzzi later on and puts on high
The
heels.
shoes! Oh my god! I was like, that does not. I would be flat on my face.
But it's Renee, so she could do it.
She can do it. Yeah, I was very. Yeah, I was.
So you're
surprised.
expecting like a lame rom-com kind
Yeah.
of... Are you into
They're gonna-
rom-coms?
Yeah, I don't mind a little rom com every now and then, but I thought, they'll just fall in love and that'll be it.
But it isn't.
It's so much more than
This
that.
is a classic old school movie, like the 60s movies, where the guy or the girl are doing something really deceiving and terrible. Like, they are terrible people.
Yeah.
He's a horrible man.
Bad.
But I love him. As soon as I saw this entrance, I wrote in my notes, "This is the best fucking movie ever." And then I wrote
that
after that, and the pilot had a little party hat.
Okay, that nullifies my question. Was that before or after the
It was
pilot?
before, because as soon as I saw Ewan McGregor's teeth, as white as these white teeth, I was like, "Fuck yeah, this is gonna be the best movie ever." So you don't mind a good romantic comedy every now and then. What's a romantic comedy you like? Like, what's one that you'd say is good? A go-to?
If any.
Oh, that's a tough question.
13 going on 30? Suddenly
that
30?
is a good
We
one.
did that on the
Yeah.
podcast a little while ago. Great film.
Like 2 weeks ago, I think.
Yeah, I feel even as mentioned before, the How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. I feel
Oh,
like
that's a
That's just a
classic.
good go-to.
That's,
Not that you'd watch it more than
That's the
5
one
times,
with
but-
Matthew McConaughey. right?
Yeah.
What's the one with Heath Ledger?
Oh yeah, 10 Things I Hate About You.
10 Things I Hate About
See,
You is a
that's
good one.
classic. Yeah,
That's a classic.
because you can see it unfolding and you can see where it's going, but
This
it's just you can enjoy it along the way.
This is the type of romantic comedy I like. This witty,
Mm.
stylized, old school kind of thing. Like, for modern ones, one that I always point to, and I kind of want to do on the show because a lot of people don't talk about it, is Intolerable Cruelty with Catherine Zeta-Jones and George Clooney, directed by the Coen brothers. Where he's a lawyer and she's like this woman who goes through husbands all the time and always defeats him in court or whatever. And he's like, oh, he hates her. But I love that movie and this movie, they have this fast talking, energetic, like very stylized look and way of being. Like, look at this one shot, a simple shot of just a guy in the center of the frame talking, but look how colorful it is. Like, it's just beautiful. Like,
Yeah,
we're watching this without sound and with subtitles, but I could pretty much get the story from just the visuals alone. Like,
That's true.
Ewan McGregor's a hot stuff guy. I mean, look at him.
Actually, when he came out in that scene, I was like skinnier than what I expected. But
Oh, you don't remember him in Trainspotting?
well, yeah, true.
Where he
But
played a
I don't
heroin
know.
addict?
Yeah,
This is
But for the
this is the most.
character.
This was when he was doing Star
this bit
Wars.
was great.
This was when he was doing Star Wars. Think about that.
Oh,
he was
yeah,
doing
okay.
Star
Would
Wars.
this be between 2 and 3?
Yeah.
Yeah. 'Cause I know 3 was like 2005, 2006. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Bartek,
Yes.
what about you? You didn't know anything about this movie. What were
Yeah,
you expecting?
I
You
didn't
went in
have-
blind.
Yeah, unlike you, I didn't have any hype.
Oh yeah.
So my only idea was, because I think I asked you once, like, oh, it's like a chick flick or something, yeah? And you're like, yeah. And that was all I had. Like, when I put it on Netflix, I wanted to check, like, how long it was, and I saw the synopsis, like, set in the 60s, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a bit of a period piecey kind of thing. But yeah, not knowing that there was something about it, I just looked at how the plot was progressing. I'm like, oh, okay, there's going to be a liar revealed thing. Then they're going to, like, break off, and then something will happen to get them together.
And they do. They do all of that.
Yeah, it
True,
happens,
but it's all the...
It's a piss
Extra
take
details.
on it.
Exactly,
It's a piss take on it. It's just,
which is perfect.
I love the bit to jump ahead. I just love his strategy of, well, I'll apply as her secretary to just get her back. I'm like, and he's like, you can't discriminate against me.
He's like, I'm a new man.
Fuck yeah. Sorry, I'm getting distracted by his leg being raised. I'm just going to say this straight off the bat. I'm not a gay man, but he's made me gay in this movie. I mean, every time Ewan McGregor was on screen, I was aroused. I was just like,
Don't blame you.
oh boy, I'm getting a bit hot under the collar here. This is like fully, and I turned to my fiance and she was like, Ewan's hot in this. Like, I didn't even say anything. I turned to her and she was like, Ewan's really hot in this. I'm like,
He is.
oh, brother, yeah, boy. I mean, this is one of these movies where they cast him at, like, you know, in these kind of movies where they have the handsome man who's like the ladies' man. What did they say? He's the ladies' man's man about town. That's his title in this.
Yeah, yeah.
They usually have an actor, and I go, yeah, you know, I guess, like, say
It's more of like an informed
like
thing.
a Brad Pitt guy or Matt Damon. I'm like, yeah, I guess, you know. But then you have Ewan in this. Like I said, he's a lean guy.
Yeah.
But he's just so... I don't know, I believe
He's so
every moment
charming.
of it.
Yeah.
I believe it. I want him. Make me yours, Ewan. You
I wanna
handsome
be-
man. So, Bartek, you didn't have anything to go off of. Then you read the synopsis and you were like, it's going to be a chick flick. You thought it was going to hit these beats, but then it does hit those beats, but it's the execution of those beats. It's because this is a parody of those 60s type romantic movies. Like, she's an Audrey Hepburn character. He's a Cary Grant type character, or Fred Astaire, or this or this. Like, it's this...
All the comments that I read were talking about, like, yeah, Rock Hudson, Doris Day.
Rock Hudson, Doris Day, all that kind of stuff, which works because Tony Randall, who's in this movie as the boss of the publishing house, he worked with Rock Hudson, and he was the guy who was actually in these type of movies. I'll talk about him later.
Yeah,
but
I heard that he basically plays the role that
David Hyde Pierce plays.
David Hyde Pierce, yeah.
This movie, look, I'm not I don't mind my romantic comedy every now and then, but I always prefer the comedy aspect than
Yeah,
the
for
romantic
sure.
aspect, because I don't have that thing of like, that romantic couple, they're my favorite.
Yeah.
Other than like some of the classics, like you gotta go with like, you know, Casablanca, and you're just like, oh, it's so upsetting that
Yeah, the heart-wrenching ones.
the classics of classics, like that's a golden age classic. But I don't go, oh, poor Harry and Sally.
No.
Oh, Sleepless in Seattle. No, Tom Hanks, email her, please. Do it now. But what about you, Bartek? Are you into romantic comedies? Have you grown up with any in particular?
I feel like I've seen a million, but then when I have to like think about examples, I can never think of
Well,
any.
you grew up with you watch a lot of Bollywood movies, and a lot of them have romantic comedy aspects to them, don't
And
they?
musical, don't forget that, right?
Well, unlike this movie. But none in particular that come to mind?
I'm completely fine with the genre, but yeah, I just can't really think of any that like super stand out. Like, oh yeah, I like Yes Man, but there's not really too much to say about it.
Is
But...
Yes Man a romantic comedy?
Yeah, it's
It's a true story
Jim-
film too.
I know it's based on what's his face's like story.
Yeah. I haven't seen it.
Yeah, it's Jim Carrey and Zooey Deschanel romance.
Yeah.
The ultimate pair up.
Yeah.
It's quite cute, actually. Yeah.
It's no.
Sorry, not Yes Man.
Sunshine. Was it? What's the one he did with? Spotless Mind, Sunshine,
Oh,
the Eternal
Eternal
Sunshine of a Spotless Mind. That's like a classic that everyone
Yeah.
points to. But it's like, is that a comedy? No, it's fucking depressing.
It's
It makes me
not a comedy.
sad.
Everyone's like, what's Jim Carrey doing?
You know,
It's not being funny.
you know, I love Ewan McGregor's in this, and I feel like I have an abusive relationship with Ewan because I look at his IMDb, and 90% of the things he is in,
You hate?
I hate,
Yeah.
and I don't
Really?
like, but I love him in them.
Yeah.
Like, I don't like the prequels. No one does. But
Yeah.
you can't... No human on Earth can look another human in the eye and say Ewan McGregor is terrible in those movies. He's the best part of the movies. Genuinely. Because the other best part is the Emperor. But he's best in the fact that he's fucking funny and hilarious. But Ewan McGregor's fucking great all the time, but I feel like there's an abusive relationship with him where I'm like, man, I don't like these movies that you were in. Like, I hate Moulin Rouge.
Oh, really?
I hate that movie, but I love him in it.
Yeah. What do you hate about Moulin Rouge?
Everything. I don't like Baz Luhrmann's style in general.
that's fair enough.
I just don't like it.
Yeah.
Jim Broadbent's in it, so it's alright. It's got, he's in it. John Leguizamo's in it too. Thumbs up. I'm happy-go-lucky. But Ewan, in this movie, I was worried about that, as you guys heard. I was like, oh, Ewan, don't do this. Don't be perfect in a movie that's lesser than you. But guess what? The movie matches his perfection. Isn't that great?
That was beautifully said.
I'm a beautiful man. Just not
Just
Ewan,
like you.
not Ewan level though. No one
No,
is.
quite.
When I was watching that shot yesterday, I was like, why are we focusing on these two ladies? Who are they?
When this happened, the music starts to swell up that matches their
Yeah.
choreography, and I was just waiting for the guys grab the coats, be like, "Yes, ma'am," and just like, "Let me take your coat." And I was expecting like these people to be like clicking their
Yeah.
fingers and doing all of
One
this
coffee,
stuff.
please.
It's got everything that a musical would have.
Can I take your order? And they're like, yes, you can. I was expecting this musical to break out, and it never happened.
It's
Like,
just on the edge every time.
no joke. The moment I gave up hope of there being no musical moments in the movie, no joke, was when he took Renee Zellweger to the helicopter at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
You mean the part right before they actually have a duet?
The part right before it says the end, and then the credits roll, show you a scene of David Hyde Pierce having his resolution, and then. So it was like
Right.
3 or 4 scenes beforehand of that. But I honestly was like,
Oh,
the
you're
last
hanging on
5
there.
minutes towards the end of the movie, because I was legit being like, well, there's going to be at least one. Because in these movies from the 60s and the 40s and all these old movies, they wouldn't necessarily just be breakout musicals. Sometimes they would just have an excuse to have musical number in there. Maybe 1, maybe 2. For no
Yeah.
reason, like, oh, we're having a beatnik party, and then they'll do a beatnik number for no reason.
Well, they're fighting, and they want to stop fighting, so they sing war.
What is it good for?
Like
Absolutely
Frankie goes to
nothing.
Hollywood.
So,
And then there's that scene where it's a little bit later when she's dancing. You kind of like,
Yeah.
oh, is she gonna see?
yeah, when they're
Okay.
having their romance montage where they're going
Oh,
on a million
yeah.
dates.
Yeah, see, I had no expectation that this would be a musicals, but now that you're mentioning it, like all the little things you're pointing out, like I can see how you'd be like led astray.
That actress there,
Gwendolyn.
Gwendolyn, played by Jerry Ryan. That's my name, Ryan. But she's in Star Trek Voyager as 7 of 9. And I bring this up because I love Star Trek, but I also bring it up because all Star Trek fans that are heterosexual males and or gay women all just wanted to have her so bad because she's like the sexiest thing in Star Trek. She plays like a Borg turned human. She was like skin tight outfit. And I can just imagine the Star Trek fans being jealous that Ewan gets to have her in this movie. As I was.
Some dumpy guy named Ewan.
Ewan? He's in those Star Wars movies, for fuck's sakes. Stay off those Star Trek women, you slimy fuck.
More like Ewan.
Ewan. Kaz,
Yes.
you're an actress. sometimes.
So to speak.
Accents. Are you good at him?
Oh, I like to
Good
think I can
accent.
do a couple of accents.
Give us your Ewan McGregor trying to do his American accent.
Oh yeah, when he talks
He gets a
like
southern one,
that,
yeah.
and he kind of talks in that. Is that right? Is
Yeah,
that the accent?
you're doing it better than he is.
I've forgotten her last name. Miss Barbara
Novak.
Miss Novak.
You got it.
That's actually not bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was the word that he slipped up on towards the end? Like
It
cheek
was
or tear?
no, it was
lash.
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 She was,
Lash. Yes. No, I was very curious about his accent before he did Zip Martin. I wrote in my notes, is he supposed to be Scottish?
Yeah, I noticed.
I didn't know if he was supposed to be when he was just himself.
Yeah,
but then the
there is an
movie
accent
lets it be, yes, he is. But I don't know if you guys would agree with this, but do you think that he is putting on this suave voice, this Quagmire, Cary Grant, like, yes, it's me, I'm very sexy. Like, he's doing his version of an American accent, like, I'm trying to be this suave guy, but that's not actually
Yeah.
how he speaks. Because later on, we do hear him be full Scottish with her when he's being really sincere, but here, he's doing this weird faux American accent, but his Scottish
True.
does slip through.
Well, there are some people who speak with like a dual kind of accent.
Yeah, but I just am
I-
curious,
yeah,
because
I-
then he does his hick accent later
I
when he's being over the top.
I interpret it kind of as like he doesn't normally have an American accent, so that later on when he does put on an accent, it's incredibly obvious.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
fair. What about you,
or
Cam?
is he just constantly a different character? Like he's always.
He's always on?
Yeah,
He's
would make sense. But
Yeah.
I do see what you're saying.
I thought of it as a ploy. He's like, I'm playing my sexy charm. And
Yeah.
like, you know, because
So
not a lot of
is-
ladies are going to be like, I want to get with that Scottish guy. Okay.
Is there any scene in this film where he's not talking to anyone, like just to himself, that we could maybe
He
point
talk-
out as evidence?
No. He talks to David Hyde Pierce, and he seems to have a Scottish accent because they're friends. I love.
Well, some people think that they're not friends. Maybe that was.
Who says that? He knew him when he only had one neurotic diagnosis. That was one of my favorite lines. It's like,
Oh yeah.
he's just like, oh, you're my friend. I have 20 diagnosed neurotic diagnoses. And he's like, I knew you when you only had one. Classic.
That's right.
Classic.
And then he's not that good. Like he uses him a lot too. So it's
Oh, he's a terrible
power-
person. he's a
power play
fucking,
happening.
fucking horrible man who you wouldn't want to know or get with.
No.
But, like, you do, though?
Yeah. He's definitely got his way.
I mean, look at him here. Look at those.
Look at those.
Titties. Yeah, I was shocked throughout this whole movie. Just shocked
By the
how
tits?
good this was. By the
Yeah.
titties. There was a titty show. They went to a titty bar in the 60s.
Yeah. I mean, where else would you be in the 60s?
Well, and they're
right?
dressed for it too. Yeah.
Oh, he's knocked out. Poor David Hyde
He's
Pierce.
just looking at the table.
Do we know David Hyde Pierce from anything?
I feel like I can't think what I've seen him in, but he's very familiar.
I
to
can't
me.
think of anything, so I'm just gonna go.
Is he in a sitcom or something? Like,
Yes, he is. But
I'm gonna double down and say I don't know him from anything.
well, he's in two prominent things. He's Niles from the TV show Frasier.
I did read
Yes.
somewhere
The
that
brother.
he was in that
That's-
show.
The brother.
Yeah.
And he's the voice of, at least in the first movie, of Abe Sapien in Hellboy.
Okay. Well, since you're saying he's Niles, that means he was in The Simpsons, so I'd know him from.
Oh,
that.
yes, he's Cecil,
Yeah, so I'd know him as
Ah,
that.
okay.
as his
That's it.
brother Cecil. He's great. He's basically Niles in this as well. Like, he's basically the same. He's always the same character, but I fucking love it.
he's perfect.
If we found out that his dad was Kelsey Grammer in old man makeup, I'd be fucking proud. I felt like I missed a scene when watching this moment here where they just got on the Ed Sullivan show. Like,
Yeah,
how
how
are we gonna
does
do
that-
it? And then it cuts to them being like, oh, the singing nun fucking fell off her bike. I'm like, did I miss a scene?
And then Judy Garland singing.
and then you miss another scene, and they're super famous.
Yeah. But that's not as shocking because once they
Yeah.
get on the Ed Sullivan show, you're like, oh, it's implied they're gonna be famous straight
Yeah.
away.
Yeah.
It's all part of the plan.
Because
But how do they get there? Yeah.
Well,
Weasel
I
their
reckon
way in.
Sarah Paulson
She knows-
pushed the nun off the bike.
Oh, I see.
I reckon it was a bit of sabotage.
Yeah, probably.
Not the song by the Beastie Boys sabotage, but literal sabotage.
The actual thing.
Yeah, what did you think of
I thought this bit was great.
real footage of her on this show singing? Like, this is, like, really her. I guess Down With Love is the real song. Wouldn't it be great if they just wrote a movie around that song? They're like, I really love this song, Down With Love. Can I write a whole movie about it?
Next thing we know.
I love the international montage.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That was great. That was great. I love, I wrote my notes, every country has their flag in their bookstores.
Yeah.
As we all do. I wish I had the Australian one. And it's just someone, like, grabbing it with a boomerang or something stupid.
What film did we do where, like, people were watching a game show around the world? Well, I think it was Centrinians, and, like, the Australian ones were just a bunch of, like, bogans
it was
in a
Johnny
truck.
English.
Johnny English.
And they were on the back of their ute watching it.
Oh, yeah, I've seen it.
Oh, right, yeah, the Archbishop's ass.
Yeah, and they were laughing. I love Australians represented in movies because, like, one of my favourite examples was, have you ever watched the Girl with the Dragon Tattoo movies ever?
No, I haven't.
Well, there's the original, are they Swedish or Scandinavian?
I think it was Swedish.
They have the one in their subtitles,
Swedish or
obviously.
Scandinavian, but, yeah.
They have a bit where she's in Australia picking up some cargo, and a guy, she's like, oh, I need help with this, and he goes something along the lines of, yeah, I can do that for you, darling. Like that, typical. Just a guy saying it in a really normal way, and the subtitles translate to yes. Great joke there of them putting it under their hats.
Yeah, that was
and the
fun.
Soviet Union.
When they showed the UK...
Oh, yeah, and she chops it.
They don't have books there. That's the joke.
When they had the UK one and then the French one, I thought that they just played the same shot again. I missed the flag completely.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, they're doing a third time, but now Chairman Mao's there.
Yeah. I do love the little commentary and joke there about how in Russia they don't even have books. They just have bread. They're not allowed books in the Soviet Union.
Yeah, see, that kind of went over my head. I'm like, I didn't see the book.
Yeah, exactly,
I
because they're not
realise-
allowed books back
So
then.
in Soviet Russia, you don't buy books.
No book for you.
See, Ryan can do accents too.
See, I'm very
Yeah,
good.
that was impressive.
Want me to do Kaz's accent?
Yeah, do my
The
accent.
one that she did before.
No, her normal
My
accent.
speaking accent.
My speaking accent.
The country twang.
Now do me, and don't do fart noises.
Okay. Now do me. Don't do fart noises. There you go. Pretty good. I removed all life from my voice. That's how I did it. That's the trick.
Shall I do
That's
Ryan's?
right.
Yeah, do mine.
Yeah, do mine.
That's actually really good.
That's actually really good.
Not as good as Ewan's one, though.
No.
Wow, Ryan's so handsome. All right, enough, Ryan.
Little did we know that Mad Magazine would have a response to this movie by saying that the fact that they used Alfred E. Newman in it is a kiss of death for any movie, apparently. If you use him in your movie, it's apparently a kiss of death, according to Mad Magazine. Good for them. I'm glad that they think that they're that powerful. It's like, use us in a movie, kiss of death. I want movie studios to push that. To be like, okay, in the next Star Wars movie, put an Alfred E. Newman in there and see if it kills the franchise or not. Like, I would love to...
Is that an actual... Has
yeah,
that been
apparently,
proven? Or...
I don't know. Apparently, this is one. I guess not a lot of people are talking about this.
Well,
Well,
Ryan,
that's true.
this is like the 122nd episode we've done. Have we seen it in other ones?
I can't think, have we?
I don't know.
Maybe it's been secretly in there, like a secret Mickey in every Disney movie. The boss here. This is Tony Randall, everyone. He, like we were talking about him before a little bit, he's in all of these real life movies that they're parodying in this. Like, he's in Pillow Talk, which is primarily where the dividing line on phone calls comes from. That, that goofy yellow stripe.
All the comments I read were like, this is like Pillow Talk, this is like Pillow Talk. Yeah.
Tony Randall, very iconic guy. He played that David Hyde Pierce character a lot, that neurotic friend. One of his most iconic roles was he was in the TV show version of The Odd Couple.
Oh, okay.
He played Felix, the obsessive-compulsive, cleanly one. He plays these types of characters. He's in these real movies. And it's kind of neat to see that they actually got one of those people to be in this
Definitely.
movie.
Yeah, that's cool.
It's like they know the roots, because that's the thing. They're making fun of a certain style of movie, which is those romantic comedies of the 60s and late 50s to 60s. That begs the question, have you guys watched many of those movies?
I've seen maybe a few.
Yeah, like
I can't think off the top of my... This is like the rom-com thing. I can't think
Yeah.
off the top of my head.
Breakfast at Tiffany's.
Yes, I've seen that.
A classic.
Yeah.
Classic. But
I honestly don't know if I have.
yeah. No, it's stuff. I have, kind of. My fiance's really into that era of movies, and that made me go, why didn't you like this movie? And then when we watched it last night, she loved this movie. Apparently she's like, maybe I was too young.
Yeah, I asked
Yeah.
her just before we
Immature.
started, and she was like, yeah.
To appreciate, yeah.
I've seen Pillow Talk. This reminds me a lot of Audrey Hepburn movies and stuff like that. There's a movie called Funny Face, in which it's her and Fred Astaire, and they have a scene in that movie for no reason where they go to a beatnik party, and there's a moment in this movie where they have a random beatnik party at his bachelor pad where they're wearing the berets and all that shit, and it just made me think of that moment in Funny Face. There's, obviously these Breakfast at Tiffany's kind of things, these Audrey Hepburn kind of things. There's like Roman Holiday, another one where that's us like...
Would Lewis and Martin films count?
No, they're more
too
just
50s,
comedies as well. They're not really romantic ones as much.
Fair enough.
But it's these wacky kind of things where it's like, hey, let's get in this fast comedy for no, singing in the rain kind of stuff, An American in Paris, It's all these great things that they're making fun of, but it's not saying they hate these movies. It's not mean-spirited. It's not
very
like...
much a homage, yeah.
It's a homage. It's a love. This kind of... No joke. I wrote in my notes... Oh, was this La La Land in the early 2000s? But then there's no music in it, so I guess not.
Yeah. I didn't love La La Land. Speaking of...
You didn't love La La Land?
I thought I would really
La La
enjoy it,
Love.
but I didn't love
You didn't.
La La
You
Land.
weren't down with La La Land?
Yeah, I wasn't down with it. Not like I am
It didn't win the
down with
Oscar?
Well, it did at one point.
Yeah.
Sort of, not really.
But I don't know. I think I was disappointed.
You were disappointed because you expected more from
'Cause I do
the
love
guy
that.
who made Whiplash.
Yeah.
You love Emma Stone.
I do. I am an Emma Stone fan.
Who isn't? Does anyone
Yeah.
hate her?
Well, you sort of can't. Can
It's
you?
kind of like, could anyone hate Drew Barrymore? Like,
So lovable.
could anyone hate Cameron Diaz? I mean, some do, but they're assholes and they don't like
Yeah.
him.
Maybe if she punches you, you'd hate her.
Could you hate Ryan Gosling? He was hated for a long time when he did The Notebook. I remember people fucking hated him
Yeah, true.
so hard for that. But then he did Drive, and that repaired everything.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, Ewan just ripped off his shirt. All the buttons came off.
He likes doing that in this film, especially the first half.
This part I really resonated with Renee in this part. With the chocolate.
You eat chocolate
I do.
when you're not getting a man.
I'm a single gal.
You're a single
Sometimes
gal.
you just gotta, the chocolate's a good go-to.
Are you down with Love Girl?
Yeah, I think I am.
I love chocolate too, and I don't get it with the men, but I didn't think that was related.
Yeah, sometimes it's definitely not related.
It's definitely not. Kaz just likes her chocolate enough.
No, but it is sometimes.
Sometimes,
Most of the time.
Sometimes you're like alone at night, crying and eating chocolate. You're
Not
like,
crying.
when can I get a man?
Well, if you got
It's
chocolate,
called
you're not
self-love,
crying.
right?
It's
Self-love.
down with love, actually.
Down love.
Sometimes after episode, Ryan eats chocolate, and I'm like, he's got no man.
I've got no man other than you, Bartek, and I eat after because I know the episode's over and you'll be leaving. And I'm like, where's my man?
He's going.
Yeah, this movie has a lot of things going on. We haven't talked about the plot really,
Yeah.
which is
I alluded to a lie revealed
this
theory.
is a very look. I'll hand it off to one of you guys to talk about the plot, but I will just say this. I honestly don't know how, in this climate with gender and stuff, how this movie would land today with what it's about. Because this movie's got a lot of devious things going on in it, and a lot of socio-political, gender, politics, commentary stuff going on.
And the twist of the film kind of makes you think, like, did they believe this or didn't they?
The
not?
fact that there's a twist in this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which one of you guys explain what the actual movie's about?
Well, basically the plot is that it's kind of a shared main character role between Ewan McGregor and Renee Zellweger. McGregor, Zellweger.
And it's weird because their names is actually Renee Ewan.
And Ewan Renee. So
You. It sounded like you in Renee.
Ewan Renee.
You in Renee,
you in
baby.
Renee?
You in, Renee?
Or you out?
Are you out, Renee? That's a song in the movie.
If you're in Renee, can you also get chocolate?
Yeah.
Then I'm fine being in Renee.
Were these people supposed to be Polish or what?
I think they were meant to be like Jewish, but then.
Were they?
But beyond that, I don't know. Maybe
Is it because their shop's called Lentils or whatever the fuck it's called? It's called something.
it's their last
really.
name.
I wish we could read backwards and
Well, they
find out
mentioned
what
it a few times in the film.
Lentils?
No, it's like Zitler or something.
Zitler, but that's an L.
Oh, Litzer then.
Litzer, I guess.
don't
Who cares? But I
They
think you're
appeal-
saying the plot.
The basic plot is that Ewan McGregor is a columnist. He's a writer.
He's a
like
columnist
the top columnist on one magazine, and
on No Magazine.
on No magazine, KNOW.
Yeah.
And Renee Zellweger is an author who's written a super feminist book about how women should throw away love, replace it with chocolate, but still enjoy sex.
Yeah, it's basically become men.
Yeah.
It's basically
Have
we
meaningless
could
sex.
have as women. You don't have to abide by the patriarchal rules of having to have marriage and kids and be in servitude. You can be exactly like a man, where you can have detached relationships. You don't have to have love.
Yeah, and at the start of the film, she's basically finished her book, but she needs to promote it. Up until this point, it's pretty much become a huge sensation. She's pretty much all the women are listening to her, believe her, are following what her book teaches, and that conflicts with Ewan McGregor's lady killer lifestyle.
Yes,
and many other men as well.
Ladies' man, man's man about town lifestyle. I just got to repeat that because they've said it they said it like 6 times in the movie. They have a lot of fast rhyming dialogue in this where they just say it like seamlessly, like David Hyde Pierce says that a lot, where it's like,
yeah, you said one of them,
ladies' man, man's man about town.
Yeah, you said one of them earlier, and I'm like, how do you remember that?
Yeah, it's impressive.
Because it
It's
impresses
very
me.
sing-songy.
Yeah, so that's basically the film up to the point where we're at now. Beyond this, and it's pretty much starting off here, Ewan McGregor's pretending to be a really nice boy astronaut who wants...
because he has a NASA badge because Nazis were being protected by NASA, which had one of my favorite little moments in it where David Hyde Pierce is just like, you were supposed to be investigating Nazis in Argentina. Instead, you were down at the club with the stewardesses and blah, blah. I bet you didn't find any Nazis there, did you? And then
he
just
gives him a look.
silence.
He gives, yeah.
Look and silence. Like, you did find Nazis there. And I just love it.
And pretty much from that point on, he's no longer boss. He's just like co-worker best friend.
I love how over the top it is, because we all study drama. And we
Yes.
understand acting and how there's different methods and different variations. And this is very over the top.
Yes,
But
definitely.
in a really great way, like the physicality and all this. But one of the things where it tipped me off of like, oh, I knew exactly where this was going to go, was Ewan McGregor clicking his finger and pointing to the secretary when he walked in, and I just went, oh, this is the movie.
Yeah.
And then it was solidified when David Hyde Pierce had glasses on and he was saying, you're fired, and then he took his glasses off really over the top, like took them off and threw them on the ground, and then he never wears glasses in the whole movie. And I just went,
Because he broke them, yeah.
and I went, that is perfect.
Yeah. And just to cover our asses, the rest of the film, the majority of the plot is Ewan McGregor pretending to be this nice guy astronaut. His plan is to make Renee Zellweger fall in love with him so that he can write an expose piece about how,
She
not
can't
that-
even follow through on her own teachings.
Yeah, so basically, that's what made me think, like, oh, there's going to be a lie revealed, but he actually fell in love and blah, blah, blah.
And there is, but it's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's a twist. And the twist is
we'll get to that twist, but I honestly, I was shocked.
I was too.
I was
thought, what
making
is
the
this, a
same. I was
fucking
literally making the
Shyamalan?
same face as Ewan McGregor when he heard what the twist was.
And we don't even see his face until the twist is over.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was. We'll
one
get
shot
to it,
on
but
Renee.
it was like, did Shyamalan write this? Because that was a fucking huge. It's a fucking
When the
huge twist.
when the twist
Yeah.
happened, I didn't know if it was legitimate or if the person who was revealing the twist was just like faking it.
I also agree, but then the movie keeps going.
Yeah,
Yeah.
My one weakness with the movie is I think it has too many endings. There's like 3 different ending points where you could go, and you could put the credits here and it would work. Like there's a moment where she's like, in fact, I'm down with love, and then she drives off and rain pours on him. I just went, you could easily
Oh,
put
yeah.
credits there and it would make sense, because some movies from that era in the golden age as well, with like Humphrey Bogart, they would end on those bittersweet notes sometimes, because not every movie is just like, oh, will they got together, huzzah!
Yeah,
But
the happy ever after kind of.
not
it's
every one of them's like that. More so nowadays, they're all like that, really. These
Yeah.
romantic comedies, they never have the ones where the woman says fuck you to the guy, or the guy says fuck you to the woman. None of them are, frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn kind of
We don't
thing.
get that anymore.
When I was watching the film and it kept going, like, that whole idea in my head that, like, oh, he's actually gonna fall in love and then he's gonna be conflicted. It reminded me of an opinion I had when we were doing Cruel Intentions, where the lead actor in that film,
Ryan Philippe. Like, I enjoyed the fact that he was kind of like a sociopathic, almost villain character, and I was kind of bummed out that he was going to turn good. I was thinking the same thing for Ewan McGregor in this film, but then But he's not a soci... I mean,
I know he's not a
but
sociopath, but
isn't.
he's got like ill intentions,
Oh, he's a horrible person.
and I wanted to see more of him following through on that. But then, like I said, there was a twist, and like that all went out the window.
Yeah.
Yeah, it goes out the window. So, Kaz, you're a woman, allegedly,
Yes.
according to all the men out there.
Well, she just said yes, Ryan. So
Allegedly, I mean, allegedly.
we
Who
got it
knows?
recorded though.
We got it
Each their own.
recorded, but that who knows? It could be
Make
used
it
against us.
when you're editing. Echo it.
Yes. So,
Yes.
Kaz,
yes.
what did you think about the story? Like, this whole thing of Ewan McGregor's doing probably one of the most detestable things someone could do. In fact, there was a point in which my fiance asked me when he was about to have sex with her, she goes, would this technically be rape? Because everything he's doing is under false pretenses.
Well,
And if
that's
she
true.
found out, like, I just went, I don't know. But what did you think about this? This movie walks a very dangerous line of being like, he's a fucking horrible human being, but yet you like him.
Yeah, and then yeah, you kind of all through all this time, I was like, oh, this is so sad. But then because she knows who he is, though.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, no, she doesn't. I mean, without spoiling anything.
But she does, though, but
So
she doesn't.
she doesn't.
Spoilers are okay on this podcast, but we're just being extra sneaky this time, so don't worry.
Great. I was very torn, but then I was more annoyed at the end when it was she actually. I mean, it's good that she could admit I'm not a down with love girl sort of thing.
Yeah.
But then that annoyed me the most because I was like, no, you're a down with love girl, aren't you?
Well, you don't want her to get with him?
No.
Oh, shit, I really wanted them to get
Well,
together.
I mean, I did, but I think that's what they did well, but I don't know. I feel like...
Sorry, this is the moment
This
where I'm
is-
like, oh, so it's a musical still, right? Like, there was moments like this in the movie where I'm like, oh,
They're about to-
going to be a musical, though, right? It's going to have a musical moment in
They
it.
just sang a little bit.
They just did a little bit of zing-zang, a little bit of sing-songs dance. But yeah, it walks its dangerous line.
It does. And that's why I feel like if this was made, in the last couple of years, probably wouldn't land well at all. Well, I guess it didn't land that well back in 2003 anyway,
Yeah.
because it hasn't really been...
That part right there, that was one of the things that kind of made me like, oh, you're falling in love, aren't you?
Yeah,
But
little
then,
photo.
but then afterwards,
like how disparaging you said that. Oh, you're falling in love, aren't you?
no, but then after that, he's like back into like, no, I'm planning, and like, oh no, you weren't.
He really plays this really well, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Ewan?
Yeah.
I think this is my favorite suit of his that he wears. This shiny blue suit with a
so
matching
shiny.
tie.
I will say this, because when the twist happened, I kept asking myself, like, was there any foreshadowing? And then when I looked it up, I'm like, okay, there were like two parts of foreshadowing. One of them was here, they were just talking about, like, there was something in her past that made her what
Yeah.
she's today. And much earlier in the film, when Ewan McGregor was talking about his experience talking to her on the phone, he said she didn't sound like a blonde.
Yeah.
Which we later learned it's
It's
not her
just-
natural hair color.
That is... I didn't even think about that. That's
Ooh,
great.
Me neither, I had to look that up.
I do love the fact that David Hyde Pierce and Sarah Paulson, their characters are joined together. They're their romantic link, but they have the little subplot of her thinking that he's gay,
Yeah.
which is always a joke with his character Niles. Well, in Frasier in general, a lot of people think they're gay because they're so well-to-do, high-maintenance,
yeah.
classy guys. But then Sarah Paulson and David Hyde Pierce, a couple years after this movie, both came out as gay. They're both gay
Oh, really?
actors,
Yeah.
yeah.
I didn't
Sarah
know that.
Paulson's a lesbian, he's a gay man, and it's just kind of like... I always find it funny when you have those little things when you rewatch these kind of movies where they have, even within the thing, like...
Yeah.
and then you just go, it's because they are.
By the way,
years.
for the listening people that don't know the twist, it's not just that she's not blonde.
Twist is,
I don't want to make that like
she's
the big
just
thing.
not. Imagine if that was the twist. I was like, did Shyamalan write this? And people are going back, being like, "Wow, they're really overreacting about her being
Wait,
not
so she
blonde."
knows who who he is, and she's not blonde? Like
The
what?
fuck? Wow, that's a twist. Is the movie called Down with Blondes? Far out.
We got it all wrong.
I reckon this movie. Well, here's the thing, though. I find it interesting with the romantic comedy genre. How many detestable things get a pass in this, and especially when I ask you, because you're a woman. I find it interesting that women give these things a pass if it's in this genre a lot more. Like you have
That's true.
How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days, and 10 Things I Hate About You, and Intolerable Cruelty. You have Sleepless in Saturday. All these things, they all have this fundamental thing of people being utter pieces of scum at the center of it. Well, actually, old school movies, they had these people being scum too, but a lot more of them had people just genuinely liking each other and finding each other interesting and going on kooky, wacky adventures.
I'm not a huge fan of college humor, but they did have one video that was, the sketch was, it cut between an old lady talking about her experience and then a young person talking about their experience, and the old lady was like, "Oh, he came up to my, like, outside my window with flowers and he shouted things, 'I love you,'" but then it cut to the younger person. He was like, "He was stalking me. He came to my house with flowers."
Yeah.
Basically, yeah, like a little clever change on how the story is told.
This sequence here is great.
Yeah, I thought it was funny.
I love how overly sexual this is as
Yeah,
well. This whole movie,
so much of
there's a
that.
lot of double entendres and just things being said, and this whole sequence in which it looks like they're fucking,
Yeah.
and then they smoke with their cigarettes already lit.
I know, I just like the yellow line.
too.
Buzz is like, I just like lines. But I find it interesting, like, do you ever think about that when you're watching those romantic movies? It's just like, especially because, you know, just give a bit of backstory about who you are. Like, you've done a lot of kind of feministy kind of theater pieces about, you know, stuff like that. And can you still turn your brain off to that when you watch these romantic movies, or does it irk you?
I don't think you can ever fully turn your brain off from those things.
Most people do.
Well, yeah, I think you can. There's a part of me when I'm watching something, you go, oh, just you try and let go of those things. But it does definitely irk me when you see, like, because that is so many in real life. So many women are treated like shite by. It's like, oh no, but he's okay. He did this, and then it's that cycle of these toxic relationships. So it does kind of, I think deep down, I'm like, it does.
Yeah,
irk me.
I think that's one of the downfalls of modern romantic things, not even just comedies, things, because I think there is this thing of, to have drama, it has to be this toxicity between the two, because, like, this is a toxic relationship, and a lot of people give flack to something like 50 Shades of Grey existing, and Twilight existing, but really, if you look at the cinematic landscape of romantic movies over the last, 20, 30 years, why wouldn't they exist?
I've noticed,
In all honesty, because even a movie like this, which I love, this is a fucking toxic relationship.
It's terrible, yeah.
It's fucking terrible. I'm not saying, and also, there was characters like these characters that they do in the 60s that have these kind of things too. But a part of you guys, oh, it was the 60s. The gender politics was different back then too. Like, they weren't being haha funny about it then. They were being serious about it then. So you put on your time period goggles when you watch those kind of movies and you excuse it, but then you see something like 50 Shades of Grey now and you just go, no, we know better now. So I kind of give this a little bit of a pass because it is making fun of those kind of movies from the 60s.
Yeah,
That's true.
And I don't know how super common it is in a bunch of films, but I noticed that some films also, and I can relate this to 13 going on 30, have a little trapping where not so much love triangles, but when a person has two potential love interests, there's like the one that they're with and the one that they have to be with. So, like, in
Yeah.
13 Going on 30, Mark Ruffalo had a fiancée.
Yeah.
And she was generally a nice person.
Yeah, she was a nice person.
That's what I'm alluding to, yeah. But the fact that she's not the main character, we're following the actual main character and we have to be on her side. That means that we sort of have to dislike this generally nice person or the person who's, like, right about a lot of things.
Yeah.
And that's like they're the villain by default. And if you're not on the film's side, then that's kind of a disconnect between what the film wants you to feel and what you're actually thinking logically. Like, I even remember when we did Over Her Dead Body, like, you were super into the not final love interest side.
Yeah.
Despite the fact that the film's like, no, this is the person that you're meant to be with.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I battle against... I mean, I love movies, obviously, and I love genres, but there are always these faults that you can always improve upon as time goes on. But I feel like the romance genre has fallen into this rabbit hole and just refuses to get out of it.
Yeah.
Even just something basic like Shrek.
Yeah,
For instance,
yeah.
in Shrek, their relationship's a fucking mess in the first movie, and then in the following movies, they do highlight, no, their relationship's a mess. Like in the fourth movie, he's like, I fucking am sick of being married, and I hate
want
my
to go
life.
back to the old
They don't
days.
shy
I want to
away
go back
from
to the
that.
old days, and I just go, why can't romance movies just sometimes be these simple movies in which, like, you have something like Roman Holiday in which she's a princess and she's just hanging out with a photographer guy, and then at the end of the day she goes back to being a princess, but they had a fun time, there's no toxic thing between them, they just had a really fun romantic time, and you know that they love each other and all that kind of stuff. It's not sad, you just go, oh, you know, that's cute and fun.
Yeah.
But you have to have drama, Kaz.
Yeah, there's always drama.
You have to have drama.
People love it. And then they know that people want that. There's that hope as well that people, yeah, if they're the main character, you're on their side and you want them, you're like, oh, you want them to be happy, because I think people put themselves in that situation when you're watching something. So you go, if that were me, I should be with that person.
Yeah, and it's
even
like
though
it's like the person
they're with someone else.
and the person that they're with, the someone else, is like sometimes seen as a perfect person, but the problem is that you don't see many faults in them, just the default things in
Exactly.
play.
Something that always bothers me in a lot of those romantic movies, like what's the one with Heath Ledger again?
10 Things I Hate About You.
10 Things I Hate About You. Women in these movies to show feminism, like this movie is obviously doing feminism, while it's doing it as a whole brushstrokes thing instead of just this individual character. It's like the whole world is about feminism, right? The whole story is about it.
Yeah.
The other movies, they're like, oh, we want our woman character to be a feminist, but that also means she has to be, and you know, a lot of people might disagree, but the problem is they have to be either like bitches, like really mean-spirited
Yeah.
assholes who treat people like shit.
Yeah.
And then, romance melts them at the end a little. And
Yeah,
I just
so it
find
just-
that so infuriating, because in this movie, she's not a bitch.
No.
I mean, she has her moments where you go, you could have been a little better there, but in context, it makes sense, because he's such an asshole. Where, you know, you have a moment where she's like, here, have a block of chocolate. Leave my office.
Yeah, she's
Yeah,
never...
but that's it. Like, she's not like a real harpy bitch
True.
to
Like,
show that
yeah.
she's a feminist character. Which I go, come on, there are feminist characters who are women that don't have to be these mean-spirited, defensive characters,
Exactly.
and it just makes me go. Again,
we're not getting anywhere.
we're in a
here,
rabbit hole we're stuck in these places where these certain types of tropes and characters have to exist, and those are good movies that we've listed off that suffer from those as well. And this is a movie that a lot of people don't think is as good as those movies, but I don't understand why, because I think this movie improves upon those movies' problems by actually having it be a part of the story. Like, she isn't a bitch,
No.
but when she has to be, it makes sense in context of the story and her character, and the feminism angle isn't just using her as a feminist avatar character where you go, oh, when I watched, you know, this movie, there was the lead girl was the feminist character, and now I feel feminist. This whole movie's talking about the whole dynamic of men and women in general as a whole, like every character, not just a one or two. Where it's like, oh, there you go.
She does practice black magic, though. She teleports into a lift later on from her office.
That is true. That is true.
She's a witch.
No, we've already watched Bewitched with Nicole Kidman. It's not her.
Why didn't she relate it to Witches of Eastwick?
Because she's blonde.
And Michelle Pfeiffer isn't.
Well, yeah, but Michelle Pfeiffer has the least witchy powers out of the Witches of Eastwick.
She has the most children.
She does. Yeah, I find that the romantic genre has fallen into some holes. Maybe that's also one of the things I hear a lot of people didn't like about La La Land is like the romance aspect is just like, oh, he loves jazz and she loves acting, and they
Although
both
that's the part I did like.
Oh, the romance?
Yeah, I think I was more annoyed about Gosling. I feel like there were probably other actors out there that could have done a better job.
I thought they were known for having great chemistry for stuff like Crazy Stupid Love and Gangster Squad, even, which wasn't a great movie, but like.
Yeah.
Crazy Stupid Love, that's one that kind of subverts a lot of these romantic genre tropes as well. Not fully, but it does a pretty good job. I don't know why more people don't talk about that movie now.
Speaking of good job, he did a good ice bucket challenge just then.
Oh, yeah.
He invented the ALS challenge.
It was as good as mine.
Started in the 60s. This is the
Beatnik Party.
Beatnik Party, yep.
There's an Indian man there. I'm glad that they made it proper. They didn't want to just have all whiteys.
Yeah. Good job.
No black people in this movie. It was the 60s, so there were none, I guess. Not living in New York.
No.
Met an old Jewish couple, though.
Well, that's different.
I know, they're not black.
They're not people of color, Bartek. They weren't allowed in Down with Love.
They weren't pox.
They weren't pox.
POC.
POC. Do you get it? That spells
person
of color.
Oh, person of color. Yep.
Kaz was looking at us like, I don't know what that is.
Sorry,
pox,
missed it.
So this is the character Kaz would play if she was cast in the movie.
Well, my hair's too short though. Wouldn't cover my.
Well, you got the hat on. So
I think that's not actually her hair.
You sure?
I'm sure, Kaz.
Well, I mean, she's using it to cover her breast, so it can't be hair.
I was thinking who would play who in this movie if we were actually in it. Like if we were in it. I think Kaz, you would actually be Sarah Paulson, right?
I was just going to say, I'd probably be Sarah Paulson.
I've seen Kaz in many theatre shows, and she usually plays the Sarah Paulson type character. There was one, I can't remember, where you played like a news executive woman who fucked over the main character at the end, and you're like, oh, I'm really cool now because I've got a better jacket. You remember this?
Yeah, time had passed, and I had a longer jacket.
Theatre show Kaz was in, where at first she plays like this
reporter.
sensible reporter who's all straight-laced and buttoned up, and then by the end she runs the newspaper. She's a cold, heartless bitch. You knew that she was because she wore a bigger jacket. Like, originally she had a normal-sized jacket, but by the end she had a full trench coat.
Did you give out complimentary chocolate?
No.
I should have.
Did you teleport into a lift?
You would be Sarah Paulson, right? You would 100%. You would 100% be her character, yeah.
Yeah, probably. I mean, I'd like to think I could be Renee Zellweger, but it probably wouldn't happen.
Nah, you'd be. If I cast you, you're Sarah Paulson, Devs. Right. I think that a part of me would be like, yeah, I would personally like to play David Hyde Pierce's character, but I know my energy levels is more of a Ewan McGregor's character when I'm on like stage presence. But I'd love to play a David Hyde Pierce character. He's great.
That's a fun character.
He's a very fun character. And Bartek, without skipping a beat,
Mr. Litzer.
No. Clearly, Bartek's the doorman that gives him a thumbs up in this sequence that's about to happen.
Since it's a minor role, could I also be the helicopter pilot?
Aren't they the same guy?
I don't know, but I want to be both.
Can we rewind? It's probably the same person.
It's not only the same guy, it's actually
Bartek. He's having a very... Look at him close that door in the background. Woo!
I'm a co-conspirator.
Oh, God.
But you said you wanted to be Ewan McGregor, right?
No, I would want to be David Hyde Pierce.
Oh, right.
But I know deep down, no, I'm not as physically attractive as Ewan. My energy levels would be Ewan's character. Like, I know my acting capabilities, my energy levels. I would be Ewan. I would be Catcher. But I would want to be David Hyde Pierce. Like, you know, like how you want to be Renee Zellweger, but deep down you know you're Sarah Paulson?
Yeah.
It's the other way around. I want to be David Hyde Pierce, but deep down I know
you just can't help it, you're the lead.
I know you. Right, I know you said Ewan, but my headcanon is that you were saying you want to be as attractive as me.
Ewan.
That's literally what I thought you said. That's why I reacted.
Also, Kaz should know that I would play a catch-a-block type character because we did a little comedy sketch piece at a theater show where I played like the embodiment of masculinity and had to slap Kaz on the ass.
Yeah, you
And
did.
apparently Kaz has such a muscular butt cheek that my hand got a bruise on it after I slapped her on the ass. Because I was
You
like,
had a brass knuckle.
It had a brass.
That was the main reason I thought I'd play Renee. I know she has a muscly butt too.
Does she?
Yeah, I've heard.
Have
You've
punched
heard. You've
Word
heard.
on the street.
You've heard the impact of a fist on her ass.
Hugh Grant has been spilling rumors about her muscly butt.
I'm sorry for saying fist and ass in the same sentence.
Fist and ass. Ewan obviously has evolved as an actor throughout his career. I mean, he no longer has those facial moles.
Doesn't he?
No, they got cancerous, so he had to cut them off.
Oh wow.
I thought you said they got
I'm glad he's
cancelled.
okay.
They got cancelled
Cancel those moles.
from his face. No, but they were very prominent physical features that people would be like, "Oh yeah, Ewan, he's got those facial moles on his face."
Yeah.
Like, you know, that's. I remember back in the day, because when I was a young kid, I was interested in wanting to like Star Wars, but I didn't like it.
You're a big Trekkie.
I've always been a Trekkie. Star Wars has always been a little bit too simplistic for myself. I've always been like, it's very vaguely simple. Like, the Force, it's what keeps us together. And I'm like, yeah, but what is it, though? Like, and then the prequels are like, hold on, buddy. And then even I, as a kid, was like, that's stupid.
You see, your affinity requires these genetics.
They're called
Midichlorians.
midichlorians.
And here's Jar Jar.
And here's Jar Jar. Simple. But as a kid, I remember people back in the day would complain about Ewan McGregor because he didn't look enough like Alec Guinness because he had a facial mole. Like, people were that petty. Because remember, think now about Star Wars. About the new Star Wars, how people were like, oh, she's a Mary Sue, and he's black, and that guy's Oscar Isaac. No one complains about him, everyone loves Oscar Isaac. But then other people are like, and that guy looks like an emo. People are very mean-spirited and simple when it comes to the things that they love so dearly, like Star Wars.
Yeah.
And I remember back in the day, people being like, Ewan, he had a facial mole, it won't work. And I'm like, what the fuck are you on about? And now people look back, and they're like, when's he going to get his solo movie? Like, no joke, a lot of those people now are wanting that Ewan McGregor Obi-Wan movie.
Yeah, don't
And
call
they're
it a
the
solo
same
movie.
people back in the day that were like, he won't work, he has a mole on his fucking face.
Yeah.
So, Kaz, have you ever
Hypocrites.
been fired from a job?
No, never.
You've never been fired.
I've
You
never
seem
been
very
fired.
hestant on that.
I had to think, but I was like,
Me
no,
neither.
I've only ever left.
Okay,
places.
Unfortunately, we have to let you go from the podcast.
This is my moment. Is it
This
because
is-
of my snaggletooth? Just like Ewan McGregor's mole, I have a snaggletooth, everybody.
Well, we'll cancel it.
Cancel the
Cancel the
snaggle
snaggle.
tooth.
I wish it were that simple.
Do you ever get people be like, you're fired because you got a snaggle tooth?
I mean-
you don't get the job. You didn't get the job because you got a snaggle tooth. Hence, you
Probably.
work for your brother.
Yeah, that's the only thing I can do.
You can't discriminate.
And I don't have to deal with customers.
There you go. You have to just deal with brothers.
Just brothers.
Ugh, they're the worst. I don't have any, but like, ugh. I am the brother.
So you're the worst to
I'm the
someone?
worst
You
to
are.
my sister. Ugh.
Yeah. You're-
I'm the younger brother too. Ugh. They're the worst.
They are. Actually, I don't know about the
You're the
youngest,
youngest, right?
Yeah.
You're the little doors.
Yeah.
Like,
The baby.
you know, there's that episode of The Simpsons where they build Ned Flanders his house after it went down,
Yeah.
and the hallway shrinks, and there's like a little door. That's Kaz.
Little doors.
Yeah, this fuck. Sorry, he just
Oh,
smiled
he's
at me,
so
and I just went,
beautiful.
"Oh, I'm sorry." I had to put my hand up to block his face because if I looked at it anymore, I'd just stop talking. Sorry,
He's a
stop it.
beautiful specimen.
I'm just gonna skip ahead a little bit. Ewan McGregor gets given a block of chocolate from
Is this the twist?
from Renee Zellweger, and no joke, I wrote this in my notes, but I also said it out loud without even thinking, like no filter, quietly but loud enough for my fiance to hear. I just went, "Oh, I wish I was that chocolate." As he put it in his mouth, as he put it in his mouth. I just went, oh, I wish I was that block of chocolate. And I just sincerely mean it too. Now, here's Kaz's favourite scene. Now, when you're in a little jacuzzi, do you just put the towel on you without even giving yourself a dry off?
I couldn't bear to put my wet feet into those shoes.
But they're
so
not.
fluffy.
But they're not going out shoes. Obviously,
No, they're like fancy slippers, right?
So yeah.
But like just the feeling of wetness on a shoe.
Go on, Kaz. Tell us how you feeling of wetness.
Well, no,
then
she took them off.
She dried herself so fast.
Well, it was a montage. It actually had a time effect where it kind of faded. So
Yeah, I sort of missed that. Sorry.
you're just slow. Hey, look, Ewan's putting on his socks. Remember
you
the
wanna
whole
be that
monologue
sock?
about socks? Man, nah, man. I wish I was that watch.
I like his little knobby knees.
Like that name, Knobby Knees.
Knobby knees. He's Scottish
so
after all.
skinny.
Of course he has knobby knees.
True.
He's still a handsome motherfucker now. Why, Ewan? Why do you keep doing this
He's
to
a
us?
charmer.
They could, honestly, just give Ewan every movie ever. I mean, he's doing that new Winnie the Pooh movie where he plays a grown-up Christopher Robin.
Oh.
Apparently it's not as good as people want it to be, but people are like, he's good in
Never
it.
is. Oh, of course.
Why do you do this to me, Ewan? I feel abused. You're always in your best in everything you're in, but the things aren't good enough for you.
You just beat them all.
I like this little trick here. I
Yeah,
didn't know
it
what he
was
was
clever.
doing. I thought, oh, is he doing this for when David Hyde Pierce comes or something? I didn't understand what was happening. Also, here's what I mean. This is a very musical moment. This is all timed down, choreographed to the music, where whole trip and him taking off his glasses is timed. Oh no, him putting on his glasses. Sorry, because he's pretending to be Zip Martin.
That's right.
Major Zip Martin.
Major Zip Martin.
Not minor.
I love the fact that his alias is less absurd than his real name. Zip Martin is less silly
What was
than Catcher Block.
Yeah.
Fuck, look at him go.
They're just a cute couple, aren't they?
They're beautiful. You know Renee Zellweger? What's with her? She always gets teamed up with dorks like Hugh
Yeah.
Grant and Colin Firth and shit. But why doesn't she get teamed up more with people like Ewan? Or she got teamed up with
Yeah.
George Clooney in a movie, I'm pretty sure. Like, get people
Oh,
like
yeah.
them.
And now, have you
John
guys
C.
seen
Reilly.
Renee Zellweger
John C.
recently?
Yeah, she changed her
Eyes,
face.
Yeah. She's almost unrecognizable.
Her and Uma Thurman changed their faces.
Did Uma Thurman?
Yeah.
Oh.
Kaz, when you become...
So sad.
Oh, I wish that was me. Kaz, when you become a big Hollywood actress doing that great accent you did earlier...
What accent was that?
Yeah, so natural. Didn't even know she was Australian.
Ewan McGregor?
Ewan's here.
I am
Oh,
here.
I wish that was me.
He heard that.
Oh god.
You wish you were a man.
So when you become
were
a
my
big Hollywood
microphone.
actress, you're gonna change your face.
Yeah, well, I mean, first,
Snaggletooth, right?
yeah, Snaggle will be first to be fixed.
And then
Being
nose.
cancelled.
I like my nose.
Your big nose.
I've embraced my nose.
You know, there's a
Is
whole.
it that bad?
No, it's a character actor trait that you'll have.
That's right.
You know, there's that Hollywood. I don't know. There's this Hollywood actress that I always think of. I'm like, that's Kaz. Kaz would play this chick's roles and everything.
Oh, that's nice.
Which is I don't know if you'd see any. She's in a few Martin Scorsese movies, but she's in. I don't know if you've seen the remake of Cape Fear with Robert De Niro.
No, I haven't.
She's in that movie. There's a chick in that movie. I have to show you a picture. I'm like, yeah, you'd be her in these movies. There's this woman in Cape Fear who gets like attacked by Robert De Niro. She's like a fellow lawyer of the main character, and she's in lots of things. I'm like, that's Kaz. She'd
Interesting.
be
Just
this
like
character
looks-wise,
actress.
or
Yeah, you just play roles that she would play, I reckon.
Right.
She just plays a kind of like powerful women, but also dweeby women roles.
Oh,
like you
yeah,
know, like
great,
you
dweeby.
you do both, right?
Yeah.
Like when you act, I've seen you play cold-hearted bitches or really dorky
yeah,
people, right?
Yeah.
Like you doing a one-woman show of yourself. Like that was the dorkiest one you've ever done.
yeah.
We're like, hey, it's me, Kaz, and I like to walk. Let me show you for 20 minutes. Me walking
And
back
watch.
and forth.
I'm gonna make everybody watch me walk.
It's okay. You paid for this.
Yeah.
And you'll pay in time. Hey, why does he have a picture of his parents there? If this is his ladies' man den, does that get ladies? Like when you've been lured into a ladies' man den, Kaz, do you see a picture of their parents and you think, ooh, sweet?
Well, I mean, I'm often not going to men's houses.
They're coming to yours. So if they came to your house and there's a picture of your mum and dad beside the place where you're going to do it,
No,
would
I
that
think
be an
that's
extra
weird.
motivator?
I think it's a little bit weird, but then if it's just like a nice family photo in someone's home,
Yeah.
in a guy's home, I'd be like, oh, he's...
But it's right
he
next to
loves
where
his
they do
family.
it.
Yeah, see, that's weird. If it's just in the house, you go, okay, great.
Hypothetical
That's nuts.
scenario. There are two men after you. They are both equally as amazing. One of them hates their parents. One of them loves their parents. Which one do you pick?
How much do they love their parents?
100%.
They have a picture of
Just
them right
like
next to their bed.
Just a nice
One's
relationship.
100%, one's 0%.
Yeah, it's 1 to 0.
It's
0 to
likely-
100.
It's likely they're going to have some issues, in my opinion.
Loving the parents.
Know that if they don't love their parents, they're going to have some issues that will probably transcend into
Okay.
the relationship. So I would say 100% love their parents.
So you're gonna have
Hear that, Ewan McGregor?
you got
You
a
better
chance.
love your parents.
So I think it was at this point, like when I started the film, on Netflix, I did notice that it was like an hour 47 minutes,
Yeah, around that, like an
Yeah.
hour and 40 something.
and I didn't check throughout the film how far away I was through it, but I think I paused somewhere around this point, and I noticed like, oh, there's still a half hour left, so I'm sure pretty soon we're going to get that liar revealed. But then what's going to happen? But it is this scene where the twist happens.
the twist of twists.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
shocked still.
I did not see it coming.
I'm looking at the screen and I know it's going to happen, but I'm still
Yeah,
I'm
after-
devastated. I haven't been this surprised since the newer Spider-Man movie. Like, the twists that you didn't know were
It's-
happening.
I had to tell my brother, like, dude, I just watched this film, and I had to explain everything.
Oscar, stop everything you're doing. Let
I
me
must
tell you
tell
about
you.
Down with Love.
No, it was cooking, but it was like a waiting part.
No, but he had to stop. Like, stop waiting. And then he was like, okay. And then he started serving. And you were like, let me tell you about Renee Zellweger and this magical twist. One, she's not actually a blonde. And your brother just slammed a plate down and said, what?
Twist
Pan, yeah.
of the century.
No, he's serving at this point. He slams a plate down. He's like, what? And then twist number 2, Jerry Ryan's back. Not only once in the scene, but twice. And you're like, whoa! This is a lot of information going on.
Jerry and Ryan?
7 of 9? Yeah, how did you know that? It's on Netflix now. Star Trek, you watch it if you want. Her character appears around season 4, halfway through, so start there if you
Oscar, stop being
to
sponsored
know.
by Star Trek and react.
want. Stop being Ryan in an Oscar suit.
Stop being Jerry Ryan and Ryan Slinsky.
Man, if I could be Jerry Ryan, I would.
Me
I mean,
too.
look at her here. What a babe.
She's hot.
And she's gone. Or is she?
Or is
She'll be
she?
back. I love that moment too, where you have all this stuff happen, but then she comes back to be like,
Yeah.
hey, you're Barbara Novak. Let me tell you about this stuff so you can feel extra guilty about things. I just love the cartoon logic of this world.
Although she does put the key down before she goes outside, and then she happens to be able to get back into the...
Well, it's
apartment.
unlocked.
Is it though?
Yeah.
I would have thought it might have locked itself.
Are you crazy? This was pre 9/11. They had less
Yeah, true.
security focus back in the day.
Good point.
And everyone's white. They don't worry about black
True.
people robbing
Things are
them.
just left
Everything's
open.
in White Town.
Do you guys like 3-minute shots?
I fucking love 3-minute shots.
Yes.
This is almost like Goodfellas level good, but better.
Good fella, yeah.
Goodfellas, they have that one unbroken shot of him going down in the restaurant and getting his table. Almost as good as this.
Here it is. I
This
think
is
this
the
is the
best.
start.
Apparently this took her 6 takes.
Yeah.
Really?
Well, it's 3-minute monologue.
Yeah, it's
It
fair enough.
doesn't... Yeah.
Being a film actor, you don't have to have, and I don't imagine she did much stage. This was at the height of Renee as well.
Yeah.
Chicago, Bridget
Jones?
Bridget Jones's Diary around this time. One after the other at least.
7 years after Empire Records, I think.
Wow.
She was young in that.
Yeah, she was born in 1969.
Did she? Did she do a 69? So the twist we get revealed is, tell us, Kaz. Tell us the twist. Tell us
I
like
don't
we have
explain
no
things
idea.
that well.
Tell us like you would a child.
Tell us before this shot ends.
She's... Oh!
You got less than 3 minutes.
I'm like Renee.
Still plenty of
I
time.
need 10 takes to explain it. No.
6 actually.
10. So basically, she informs our dear Catcher Block that all this time she knew that it was him, and she was once brunette, and also is this a good explanation?
Yeah.
She's going to give him
She was
complimentary
once
chocolate.
brunette
She was
and
once brunette and was his secretary,
who is infamous for having affairs with.
correct? And then she has plotted this whole situation. The book, she is not Barbara Novak. Her name is, in fact, Nancy...
Something.
Drew.
And then... Oh, no, I can't do it.
It's pretty...
I don't
It's
want
a
to...
pretty
crazy.
elaborate plan. Her
My
plan
favorite
is
part-
like basically make a whole identity, make that identity successful and independent.
The successful
to the
parts
point,
that gets me.
to
Well,
the
yeah.
point of which the whole world falls in love with you and
Except Russia.
adopts the. Oh no, they secretly fall.
Sorry,
in love.
Soviet Union.
They secretly fall in love. They're just not allowed to say it. And they fall in love with you, turn women against men, so that in the end, you will fall in love with me.
But think that
For
you're
who
trying to
I
make
am.
me fall in love with you.
Yeah.
you. In
She
turn,
thinks he's doing the whole
which
time.
you think you're in charge of, and in fact, I'm in charge of you,
So
buddy.
she's beat him at his own
You
game.
would have taken me on one date, but as this successful woman, you've taken me on multiple dates,
I love-
which is out of character for you.
I love-
And I've turned you into what you thought I would be.
Nancy Brown, yeah.
Nancy Brown.
Because her
yeah,
hair
she
was brown.
Yeah.
Of course.
I love the fact that success was just a part of the plan. It wasn't like the end goal like it is for so many people.
I love that it was an
Yeah.
accidental consequence for her. Like
No, it was intended,
No,
though.
but like accidental in terms of magnitude. She
Yeah,
didn't
that's fair
expect it.
enough.
Like that's her downfall. Like
That's
that's
what
what this
changes her,
scene
yeah.
ends with her doing the I'm actually a down with love girl
And see,
because
the
I
shot's
have
still-
to be.
Notice that the
Yeah.
shot's still going, so you had time.
Still going, yeah. Wow. I
Where's her
could've
Oscar?
taken so
When
much
she
more
dies,
time.
this will be what they play at the Oscars.
The full thing.
The full
they, had to,
thing.
they have to make a second
It's
song.
pretty good.
Yes, it's amazing. And then that's my face when I saw this happen. I'm like, fuck it hell.
I was just smiling a bit more, but that was me.
I was shocked.
Because I was just
It
thinking,
was,
like, is she, like, just fast-talking him, or is she serious?
Yeah, did you think she was serious, or
At
did
one
you think
point,
it was a trick?
I thought it was a trick at this. Yeah, at the start, I was like, surely, but then it didn't make sense. Like, even at the beginning when she didn't recognize him, I thought surely she would have seen. She knows what this guy looks like.
But at the same time, she comes from a small country town, and this
Yeah,
is the
then
first
that
time in the
thought
big
popped into
city, and all of that. And he's never around with Sarah Paulson's around, who could be like, "That's him."
Exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I feel sorry for Sarah Paulson, who is inadvertently also duped by her. Like, she's actually, like,
Well, yeah.
trying to be successful, independent woman who's following this mantra, but in the end, she's just another person that she's manipulated over the
Yeah.
course of time. But Sarah Paulson's okay with it, because
Yeah. Well, she's done pretty well.
she gets to marry a guy who's not gay.
Yeah.
She had some great lines, Sarah Paulson, where she's just like, how can I have a future with someone who I haven't had a past with? And I'm just like, that is a great line of dialogue. There's lots of great lines of dialogue. Like, oh, I need the geisha girl because I need my shoes. That was great. That was just such a simple line. Just
Yeah,
like,
that
the
was
way he
funny.
said it, like, so defeated. Like, I can't run out of here being all brave like he would, like Catcher would. I have to wait for my shoes to be fetched because I'm just so pathetic. I'm just so pathetic.
And the geisha's got them.
The geisha's got my shoes. Help me.
And that's the twist.
And the twist is that the geisha had his shoes all along, and he's Cinderella.
Like, I guess there's some more twists coming up, but that's the big one.
No, that's
Well,
a big twist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then this twist, I guess, is that, she didn't realize how successful she was. And thanks to Jerry Ryan, she knows, and she realizes, you know what? I actually have to be a down with love girl because I owe it to the world.
Yeah.
And in fact, I don't love you because I've realized that you want to use me to be this housewife, mother,
Exactly.
nightmare world. I do love the fact that you think, she's revealed her hand, he's revealed his hand, and they're gonna fall in love. But no, he's still a piece of shit.
Yeah.
And she's like, you're still a piece of shit, and I don't want to deal with that. And then she's like, I'll leave. And if the movie did end on him standing in the rain, just being left behind, you know, it would have been a great ending, but the movie keeps going because it wants me to be that piece of chocolate.
Deep down.
Deep down.
Ryan is the chocolate.
How badly do you want to be a piece of chocolate right now? How bad do you want a piece of chocolate right now? I've talked about it a lot.
Yeah, a lot.
You want
I
some?
would like some.
I don't have
There's
any.
going to be a part where you're looking at me and talking to me, Ryan. You can just see Kaz leaning over to bite you or something.
I'm in the
You
land
are
of
the chocolate, right?
Then you're like, well, I got to look at Kaz, but then you forget that I also like chocolate.
And then I just look at the screen and I'm like, I like Ewan.
And then I'm like, and then we're both like, damn it, we're both in his peripheries.
Damn it, Ewan's on the screen. I'm looking too.
Just to establish, Ryan's in the middle of the three of us,
Or am I?
as always.
I'm on top.
Except
I'm a
last
power
week.
bottom.
Power middle.
I'm a power
power-
middle.
You're the power patty
Power
to our
left.
buns.
I'm the Oreo.
And power left.
No, you're like
I'm the
you're
cream.
the cream to our cookies,
But you're both white.
and so are you.
Oh my
Or am
god! Oh, and she punched
yeah,
him.
that throws him completely
I love how
off.
it's clearly like some weird dummy that flies in the air with the legs wobbling. I just love it.
Yeah. I love how Ewan just slides into the elevator every time.
Sorry, David I. Pierce with his hands on his hips going, Nancy! Because that's a great line where he's after her being like, Nancy! And he's like, Nancy! Who called me that?
I like how even though she realizes all the twists about his behavior, she still thinks he's homosexual.
Yeah, because why wouldn't you? I love how big his eyebrow goes in this
Yeah.
scene. He's still got a very masculine chin as well.
Oh,
He does. He's got that little
The bum
dimple.
chin.
Yeah, the bum chin.
The bum
He
chin.
did the DreamWorks eyebrow thing.
Yeah, but for real.
He didn't do the smile with the slightly open mouth though.
No, he's too classy.
Yeah.
The DreamWorks eyebrow.
Oh yeah, and also DreamWorks Pictures didn't really have films in the 60s.
No. Look, if David Hyde Pierce was a DreamWorks character, he would be Lord Farquaad, but that's already played by John Lithgow, so I'm sorry, we can't do it.
If he'd be this character, he'd be this character, but this character's already played by someone. That could be applied to anyone, really.
If I could be a character...
I'd be Shrek, but Mike Myers is Shrek, so I can't.
but
Just missed
Chris Farley would have been, but he died.
Well, he was, but then they never used it, right?
Not all of his audio was recorded, so
Right.
they
Oh,
scrapped
really?
it. Yeah, you can listen online to the audio, and he would have done a great job as Shrek. He's not doing a Scottish accent or anything, but like I still
It's
feel
not
like
Ewan McGregor. Is Shrek putting it on?
is Ewan McGregor in the Shrek movies? I feel like he would be.
doubt
Yeah, I
it.
feel like he
Is he Prince
Should've
Charming or what?
best moment, the rain.
I mean, Ryan, you could...
Guys, best moment, the rain.
I know what you, Ryan, I know what
Wait
you were
for
asking,
it.
but I think you've already told us that you think he's Prince Charming.
I think he's Prince Charming, right? No, that's not him. Someone else. It looks like
I'm
the
saying
guy
you're
who
in love
plays
with
Jamie
him.
Lannister. I'm in love with Ewan. Ewan,
You're in love with me?
will you marry
he's
me?
Will Ewan marry me?
Ewan marry me?
I mean, that's
I
a
think
legitimate
that's
question.
inappropriate.
It's a legitimate question. 'cause you're
Down
asking
with
someone.
love.
I am down.
With love.
With love.
So you're a strong, independent businesswoman who owns her own magazine and has chocolates for Ewan McGregor. Would you hire him as your secretary?
You know what? Why not? Let's mix things up.
Let's mix it up. I want to be the top. He can be the bottom.
Oh, actually, nah.
You would hire David Hyde Pierce, wouldn't
Yeah, I
you?
would.
You know, it's because he's got that gay thing going on.
Yeah.
And you're like, they're far better, right? And
Why
it's
would
like,
he
he's not
fit well?
gay, Kaz. That's,
Why wouldn't
he's
you
not.
hire them based on experience?
well, he's a boss.
That's true. He would be too. But then Ewan McGregor would be too.
He would
Do you know
be
what I mean
too
by that?
quick.
He'd be too, but then he's a bit,
Overpowering. I think
But
that's what I
sometimes
meant.
he's a bit,
And then sometimes it's a little, I wish that was me.
One time he was,
Oh my god. Last time when we were watching this, my fiance and I, she was just like, this is a surprisingly a more arousing film than I remembered it. And I'm like, ew, boy, it really is.
The
Like,
sexual tension all the way through is.
it's palpable.
I was feeling it.
Kaz felt it so hard that she lured people into her love den with the picture of her parents right next to the bed. And then they were like, what's with that? And she just goes, shh.
wait,
And
she
It's
lured
what Ewan
them
would do.
into a place with the thing that she lured them with.
no. She lured them with her vagina. But
Right.
then the picture's
the
there to
lurable
throw
vagina.
them off, to get them stunned, and then she spins her web on them, and then they're her food. And what I'm saying is Kaz is a spider.
Black Widow.
She's a black widow. Hear that? She is black. So we got it.
No blacks in this film, but in the podcast.
She's a whitetail.
I'm a white-tailed
She's got the
spider.
whitest butt ever.
Yeah.
Hey, wait, his
So
typewriter
white
is...
that
pretty
if you
white.
hit it, it bruises
Wait,
your
Ryan,
hand.
his typewriter's black.
but his hair is also black. Yeah, Ewan McGregor's had a lot of different hair colors in his career. I've seen him blonde. I've seen him black-haired. I've seen him brown.
In Star Wars, right?
Blonde.
What colour is his hair in Moulin Rouge? Is it like a light brown?
It's a black, isn't it?
Isn't it like this?
Isn't it like this? Yeah, because he's sad. Because he has black hair. Remember Baz Luhrmann, he's a real visual storyteller. When you first see him, he's in a blue-tinted area because he's sad.
Of course.
Fuck you, Baz.
Good one, Baz.
I can't wait to cover every single film of yours in 20 years when they've come unappreciated.
That means that you'll love them, though.
Yeah. I'm mature.
Oh, I see.
At the moment, I'm a young man who just doesn't care for his flamboyant style. That's right.
Cool.
I mean, we could still do Australia on the show, I guess. Ooh. I mean, a lot of people ask...
That was hard. That was a slog.
You felt hard watching it?
Yeah, really hard.
Did Nicole get you going?
Yeah.
I remember, no joke, when they made Australia, where they filmed it, they called it something land. I can't remember what it was called. Wally Land or some bullshit. And like, this is going to be a boost to Australia's film. You know, this is going to make Australia's film industry great. It killed it, if anything.
Yeah,
like, the Australian film industry has been in tatters ever since. It's been a shithole. Don't you like how her magazine's called Now? Well, his is called No. She just stole his one, but removed the K.
Sneaky Renee.
I'll be honest, Kaz.
Sorry, it's not Renee.
The only time I can see you playing Renee's character is in this outfit that she's wearing in this scene.
Sorry, wait, what's her magazine called again?
Now
and No. I see, yep.
Yeah, she just removed the K.
Yep.
I would never wear that outfit.
You would.
That's terrifying. All that white.
Yeah, but you would though. This would be you in something. You would wear that. And it shows that Kaz is an extra evil person because originally she wore normal clothes, but then she's wearing a big white outfit.
If you colour it in a bit, you could be in a Bollywood film.
Yeah.
Put some orange on it.
True.
What is she in, The Love Guru?
That's not a Bollywood film.
But at the end, they had their little Bollywood number.
It is, yeah.
Inspiring.
You're so correct, Ryan.
What is this? A fucking Breakfast at Tiffany's? Remember that in Breakfast at Tiffany's? Her landlord, who's played by Mickey Rooney, and he's wearing all the Chinaman makeup, and he's like,
oh, yeah.
And people are like, that film's a racist movie. And I'm like, what are you, fucking an idiot? Of course it is. It was made with fucking black people being oppressed in America. What do you think?
It's going to be.
Like every movie now. Every movie's racist somehow, or sexist somehow. Get over it, Americans.
We need more Long Duck Dong.
We just need a mirror. Like, that would be the movie. Just a giant mirror. That's it. Get out of here.
That's not a movie. That's a fine asset for your toilet. I mean bathroom.
I love to watch myself on the toilet.
I meant bathroom.
I like to watch myself poop. Me doing a poop poop, what does my face look like? Maybe I could change that.
You can tell I have a toilet in my bathroom.
Bartek's a method actor, and he wants to know what expressions to pull when he's doing the pooing scenes in a movie. He does real poo-poos.
I try the Dragon Ball Z stuff, and
Dragon Ball Z stuff? Oh, right. He's charging up.
Yeah.
It takes him 4 episodes to do a poo.
Well, that's when I do a spirit poo, and I have to ask everyone in the world for help.
Help me, spirit. I love this. The visual storytelling here, the power dynamic. She has this is a classic.
His chair is low.
His chair is low. Hers is high. She's got the high ground. Anakin.
She's got a turban.
She has a turban. He doesn't.
I know that there was a twist behind why she's wearing that, but
I knew that there was going to be something different because her eyebrows are a different color too.
They are too.
They're redder.
I wouldn't have
than
noticed.
in the other scenes where they're blacker.
Yeah, I see that.
Kaz,
didn't notice.
You've
it at the
dyed
time.
your hair many shades.
I have.
Has
yes.
red been one of them?
Actually, see this color here? It's
the
kind
blonde.
of blondish.
Yeah, the blonde.
It was red initially. My hairdresser likes to trick me into, or not trick me. She convinces me to color it, and she put a little bit of red through it.
Yeah.
And so I washed it profusely when I got it done
because I
decided I cancelled it.
Wow.
I decided I didn't want it, so now it's just blonde.
Ryan,
I wish
stop
that was
undressing him
Oh,
with
there
your
it is.
eyes.
Oh, and even she's looking like, oh, I wish that was me.
Yeah, she's loving it.
Doesn't she slam a chocolate in another straw?
You know what I love? She's thinking, I can't eat those because I'm wearing white, and if I get one speck of chocolate on you, it doesn't wash out, as Police Chief Wiggum told us.
Well, no.
Chocolate. That doesn't
Well, no, but
wash out.
she could eat it because she's not with a man.
Yeah, bro. And then you're right, she
I
smashes
love how
it.
she does that.
Don't
Dude.
you smash chocolate?
I've never done it
Have
like
you
that.
smashed
but I
a
want to
chocky
now.
block?
Well, to
She
be
makes
fair,
me. I smashed
After
Easter eggs.
Kaz is done drinking the life force out of men in her web, she just smashes a chocky and eats it
you wouldn't really do it to like a
over their body.
over their skull.
You wouldn't really do it to like a Cadbury one because they're a bit thicker, but like the thin ones you could
Yeah,
smash
like a
them.
lint or
No,
a,
but
Yeah, Lint.
Lint or
those other ones.
Whitakers. No, Whitakers.
Whitakers.
They would break better, but
Oh, the Whitakers I'm thinking of are also thick.
They're
but I
quite
guess
they're
thick,
thick,
though,
but the shape of the cubes, if you broke them, they would work well.
Yeah.
But Kaz is just like, yeah, break the chocolate block.
Would a
on
Toblerone-
their still erect penis.
Would you do it to a Toblerone?
Toblerone, no, they're way too
Ooh.
hard. You could beat someone to death with a Toblerone.
I reckon it would
Like,
break quite.
maybe if you like stab it into a wall. Because then it will,
you
like,
know
snap.
those giant Toblerones, right?
Yeah.
Just use those as a baseball bat. You beat someone to death with them.
Oh, I'm
They're
suddenly
tough.
remembering. Yeah, Toblerones they are a bit thick. I was thinking
But
there was
then-
a much bigger gap between the triangles, but,
But
no,
then
I was
But
because
they're
wrong.
thick
they're
boys.
Yeah,
but
no-
because they're
there's
not
not much of a
wide
gap.
like a block,
Yeah.
they might break because you just went. If you just went.
If it was a Kit Kat, I'd give you a break. But we're talking about Toblerones. You could kill someone with those. Sorry.
Use it as a
that
baseball bat.
smile there when he
Oh.
walked away. Oh, melted
just-
my knees. My
Your
my
knees.
knobby knees. As Kaz like to
Knobby
describes this. I liked how
Oh,
this is played where it didn't work.
Yeah, he counts.
1, 2,
two,
3. And I actually went, oh shit. And then he's going to walk in the elevator, close the doors, end.
And that's sort of what I was hoping for.
But then he opens the door and she's already there.
Yeah,
And now, like,
she
when he
got
looks
him.
back and they're all looking like, tough shit, man.
And in the bottom
Yeah.
right corner of the next shot,
Oh, his face is so
Yeah.
beautiful.
Look at them. They're like, tough shit.
Miss Litzer or whatever her name
See
is.
you later.
Miss Dreidel.
Dreidel.
Because he said she was Jewish.
Yeah, I
The
guess.
Jews use dreidels, Bartek. I want to inform you.
I know the Dreidel.
And there she is. She was looking down as well, like, when will the
Yeah,
door open?
and-
Here it is.
She's wearing white to hide her black magic.
No, she's hiding her purity. And now she's Nicole Kidman.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, for a second there.
She
She's got
does.
red hair.
Oh, man.
Well, she changed her face,
Oh,
right?
I wish that was me as the elevator with both of them in me.
Well, we call it a lift.
Let's take both if we can.
In England, we call them chips.
Good old Ringo.
If Ringo Starr wrote the music to this movie,
If he narrated
And,
this film,
remember there's a narrator in the movie?
Was
At the
there?
beginning and in,
Oh,
in
yeah,
the,
yeah,
in
yeah.
the beginning and the middle, there's a guy who narrates it and then he goes away. It's kind of like
Well, it was a duplex thing because duplex started the same way, didn't it?
no, Duplex had a bookend narrator at the beginning, narrator at the end. This doesn't have a narrator at the end.
Yeah, I'm just saying that the opening scene where it was like narrating, like, oh,
I'll
this
give
is the-
you an example. Kaz, on this show, we've done over 100 movies at this point.
Wow.
And to tie it in to this movie, we had a movie called Just Visiting, in which Kelsey Grammer narrates the beginning of it for no apparent reason and then never returns.
I like that you
Random.
specified. We've done over 100 films. Now let me tell you about episode 4.
I didn't
a long
say,
time ago.
Kelsey Grammer, obviously Frasier from Frasier,
Yeah, yeah.
and Niles is in this. I do love the cheesy over the top
Yeah.
ending of this. I do
It
love
had
how
to
they
be.
got the backdrop screens like they do in the old movies, and I just loved how, of course, that they would be. And again, how did we get introduced to him? Coming off the helicopter on the little
Yes.
thing, and how do we leave with him flying off onto the helicopter?
And I'm the
With-
pilot.
The woman.
Oh man, I wish that was me,
Of
the
his dreams.
helicopter.
No, it's my character.
But the helicopter, you could be the pilot. I wish you were in me, driving them about.
Oh, guys, shut up. The yellow line's back.
Hey, Kaz, when
Yes.
you phoned someone and they're phoning you at the same time, do you get to talk to each other, or does it just say that there's no answer?
It says no answer. I don't know how that works.
But have you ever had a phone with a blinky little light? You know, the little blinky lights that they
Oh,
have?
yeah, yeah.
Have you ever had them? Maybe it works different with the blinky lights.
yeah, maybe.
Chris,
I feel like
Chris Parnell, I just have to give him a shout out. This guy is always great. He's in he does a lot of Saturday Night Live. He does a lot of voice
Yes.
acting, and he's in 30 Rock as my favorite character, Dr. Leo Spaceman, the doctor whose actual name is Dr. Spaceman, but he pronounces it Spaceman.
Right.
And he's got that voice, that old presenter
fuck.
voice. What?
The credits call them Dry Cleaner and Dry Cleaner's wife. We can't find out their last name.
Oh no.
I guess we'll never know. No, the
sure
movie.
she says her name.
The movie has ended. We get a lovely musical sequence here. The song matching perfectly with the themes and the tones and
It was
where
at-
they've evolved
It was
from.
at this point that I started messaging you, yeah.
And he winked at me. Oh God, my pants!
I wish I was that lower eyelid,
I wish that I was
so
that
that I could be the
lash.
bottom one.
So I'm going to give, we're going to go into our reviews and ratings, and then Bart is going to share some opinions he found online. I'll go first because I'm being very overjoyed by this movie. I loved it. I mentioned that I had a house of cards stacked for this, coming into this, and I was waiting for them to topple over while watching because I was really afraid, actually, from the ominous message from Bartek, my fiance's opinion on the movie, her colleagues, women's opinions on this movie. I'm just like, oh God! The average-ish rating on IMDb, which is like 6.1 or 6.3 or something.
I think it was a bit higher, but yeah. It was...
something around the normal area where I go, this could be anything. It could be terrible, it could be great, who knows? But I was just worried. I was really on edge. But then Ewan showed me, don't worry, buddy. Clicked his finger and pointed at me, and I knew exactly where I was going to be for the rest of this movie.
Well, because it was pointing where?
He was pointing at me. And
he was pointing at Ewan.
Oh,
Ewan,
so cute.
he's such a cutie pie. And this movie was great. It shattered expectations, which were unfortunately low for me. It didn't meet on what I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be this for the whole movie, this musical comedy. But it wasn't that, but it had a musicality to it. It had a real energy, a beautiful looking movie that's a homage to a certain type of movie from a certain era, and it really does justice to that. And it's incredibly funny. Like, above all else, you have all these wacky antics. It has some meta commentary about itself, like when I think Sarah Paulson is just like, and I thought that we were in this crazy farce in which you were at your friend's place, blah, blah. And it's just like, yeah, that's exactly what happened. But it has all these little knowing things about it. And I think it's upsetting that a lot of people haven't given this movie more love and more respect. I think for the genre of movie that it is, a romantic comedy, the trappings of that genre, of the romance genre, it does have those, but I think it's doing something clever with them that a lot of them aren't doing. We talked about the feminism stuff earlier. I think it does it really well. I think it's got really, for characters that are cartoony, they're really well-rounded characters that has multiple dimensions to them. There's a twist. There's a twist.
Yeah, that was the biggest twist for me. There was a twist.
There's a twist. This is a great movie. If I had to give this film a rating, which I do, I have to give this a... oh man, I really wish that you all love this movie out of, oh man, this is the greatest movie ever. I wish it was me.
So that Ewan McGregor can be in you?
In me.
Wow.
If I could have Ewan in me, that would be great.
I mean, just take off your... Oh, Ewan.
Bartek? You have a mirror. You want a mirror in your toilet? Tell us about your review.
Well, I'm making a face here that's... oh, the film. Whoops.
Funny face.
There are... no. Eggs on my face.
Oh, boy.
Oh,
And I'm blushing, too, so it looks kind of like there's a bit of sauce.
yum.
I don't really
Kaz
like
is like, yummy, I want to eat that egg face. Watch out, Bartek. She's trapping you in her web.
Nom, 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 nom,
It's
nom.
okay. If she follows through on this, she won't have chocolate.
Bad Kaz. Don't eat Bartek.
But I have no chocolate.
No chocolate.
That's because you ate me.
Okay, Bartek, hit us with your review and rating.
Ow!
What? Ryan, sorry.
I like Kaz is like momentarily affected later. Like, I go ow instantly and then
It's because
Kaz...
she's further away
I'm
from
further,
me.
yeah.
Yeah, it takes longer for your fist to get
Yeah.
to her.
Exactly.
Sorry, let me just take that review off your face and read it out. This was a really great film. I, believe it or not, love this film. This is a film that I think everyone should see. It is a film that, I don't know if we would call it a parody or a satire of these kind of 60s romantic comedy films because I'm not as familiar with them, but it is a great film. Like, when I mentioned that I started the film and I saw it was an hour and 47, I was like, oh, that's similar to Witches of Eastwick. It's going to be a long film. This is one of the most recent things that I've seen that's you know, long, but didn't feel long. For better or for worse. I've seen long things that felt short, but didn't really like them that much. Like Deep Rescue. But...
Another movie we've done on the show, yeah.
For the other monthly show, yeah. It's a film that I think you would just enjoy if you watch it. This is one that I hadn't heard of, but apparently many people have heard of it. I mean, to be fair, all the people that have heard of it that Ryan indicated are women, so maybe it was more common amongst that demographic's culture.
For the boys, we had Star Wars. For the girls, Down with Love.
Well, around that time, I think... No, Scooby-Doo was 2002, but... That was a romance film. It had that Australian actress in it that's charming.
It was written by James Gunn.
It was. I think you just should check it out. Don't walk into it thinking that you'll develop a new mantra for how you should live your life. Don't walk into it thinking that you should learn techniques from it for how to improve your life. Go into it just to see something real, something passionate, but also something funny, somewhat sweet, like chocolate, and overall, great. And also, there's a old Jewish couple in a dry cleaner.
Maybe Jewish.
Possibly.
Possibly Jews.
Ryan mentioned dreidels before, but that was just him.
Also, chocolate, not dark chocolate. That's not sweet, that's bitter.
That's true.
He's talking about milk or white.
You incorrect.
You have a rating?
I like how throughout this whole episode we kept hearing, or at least me, kept hearing Ewan as you, but we never did a thing of like you and Ewan kind of thing.
You and Ewan?
You and me.
Whoa!
See, there, I finally did it. I give this film a rating of a long yellow line. I prefer the horizontal one to the vertical one, personally. Horizontal yellow line out of dry cleaner's wife's partner. Because that's her character name. Dry cleaner's wife. And yeah, I know the partner was just called Dry Cleaner, but I'm being funny, okay?
Kaz, give us a nice little review and a rating of your choice.
Make it nice.
Okay.
Or mean, I don't know.
I hated it. No.
No lying, though.
No, of course not. No, I loved this film. It made me laugh. It surprised me, which is, you don't get those little twists in a rom-com, as it is so classified as. I thought the performance of all the actors was great. In particular, our leads, Ewan and Renee.
No, I wasn't.
You were in Renee.
I wasn't in the film.
You in Renee? You in
and
Renee?
were great.
It sounds like a musical number waiting to come out, but it's done by MC Hammer. Like he comes in, he's like, "You in Renee?" And then he just starts beatboxing.
McGregor's all like a...
Keep going,
I like
Kaz.
it.
You
Thank
liked
you.
it.
Yeah, so what else do I want to say about it? I thought, I just really thoroughly enjoyed it. And I feel like it's one of those films I could watch again and find more little... Oh, I didn't notice that the last time.
Like the foreshadowing stuff, yeah.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
And especially to the... I have a weird little relationship with musical theatre, so I did really appreciate the movement and the kind of dancing all the way through it. That was fun. So, my rating...
If you have to give one, which you do.
As I do, I would like to give it...
There's nothing in this room that can help you. She's looking at random objects.
What was your rating?
I need a funny thing to say.
I gave it like a ooh.
Oh yeah, you should watch this film out of this.
Ooh, I wish that was
Yeah,
that
that
film
was
was me.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that Ewan's... I just really... Oh, can I just do like a...
You can do anything, baby.
There was a party hat in the film.
No, can't think of anything. I'm going to give it a good old-fashioned 1960 out of 1960.
Wow, it's weird because it said 1962, so that's weird.
But the 1960s wearing a golden party hat.
Oh yeah. Now,
Yeah.
Bartek has amassed some feedback from the internet
Real
for this
opinions,
movie.
yeah.
People who had heartbeats at the time and thought, I need to share my mind on the internet, on YouTube and IMDb.
Yes, I've got some YouTube comments and a single IMDb review.
Let's hear. I want to hear from them now. Give us their opinions.
Now, you say you want to hear from them. Is it okay if you hear from me reading their words?
You become them.
Okay.
Be them.
Like an
Act your ass off.
Well, you did
being each individual person. By each comment, you know their life story. You know if they have a mirror in their toilet or not. You know if they're
I'll do it.
Renee or not.
I'll do it on one condition. Answer me this question. Did you call me a method actor this episode?
Yes.
Exactly.
You nailed me there.
It took me an hour for each one of these comments to become these characters.
Here's your drama degree. just.
Why do you have
passed.
it? I thought it was in my room.
Oh, I'm now at Deakin University where we graduated from. I became it during the.
Can I have my second degree? Or do I have to wait till October? Still?
You have to wait till October, so you
Okay.
got to become a teacher later. This is all about acting, buddy.
All right. Let me just read the comment to myself quickly.
Come on.
Look, I'm telling you, this movie has the most hilarious plot twist ever. Like the one in Fight Club, but less violent.
Thanks, Woody Allen. Oh, jeez, Suki. Oh, jeez, I'm a predator, and I shouldn't be allowed to make movies.
But I do anyway.
But it's
because I'm
weird.
a man.
It's because I've been making the same movie for 40 years. It's about a guy disillusioned, but he gets with a young girl. Oh boy!
Like Fight Club, but less violent.
But like, oh boy! I can't wait to do a Woody Allen movie on the show.
All right, next comment.
Hold on. Just talking about Woody Allen, I always think of The Simpsons where Ned Flanders is like, I actually like those Woody Allen movies, except for that nervous, twitchy guy who's always in them. I love that Flanders. Because also I love how it makes no sense that Ned Flanders, the Christian name, on like the weird sex comedies by Woody Allen.
You mean Ned Flanders wouldn't watch everything you always wanted to know about sex, but were too afraid to ask?
Yeah,
Okay.
hit us.
Ewan McGregor. Asterix, a bunch of underlines, asterix. I love you so. Love him to death. He is the hottest and is my favorite.
Thanks, Stallone. I like how his method acting has become an actor.
No, these are the people.
Yeah, go on, give me.
All right. I love this movie. Wait, Ryan, don't laugh.
I'm listening.
You're ruining my method acting.
No, I'm just reacting.
Acting is reacting.
Oh, fuck
I
you.
can't argue with that. I love this movie. I have seen it 10 times. Renee and Ewan are two of my favorite actors.
That's emotional.
Terrible grammar, but great.
Who was that?
Just the voice.
It was
It was the commenter, Ryan.
Okay.
Next comment. This one I actually did have a voice for, regardless. Novak. That's Czech surname. Awesome. :D.
It is Czech surname. It is great.
If you put it with a W, it'd be Polish.
Novak.
I knew a guy named Franciszek Novak.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's still the comment, by the way. That's just Bartek.
This was my comment, I'll admit it.
Got another YouTube comment, or is it IMDb now?
I'm afraid I have 2 more.
Fuck a duck.
Shit.
Don't literally do that though, Cass.
No.
Because ducks' vaginas, they have multiple dead end entry points in there when they don't want to mate with the male duck. So they're like, I don't want to get pregnant with you, so you can stick your corkscrew penis in this dead end. Because female ducks have evolved to the point where they're like, no rape, please.
So they're way ahead. Yeah, right.
They're way ahead. Can't we be ducks? Quack, quack.
Yeah.
Bartek?
The next comment is, you mean this picnic is ruining our ants?
What was that?
Oh, that's a line in it. I'm pretty sure.
Is there a
Isn't
line?
it?
When did they have a picnic?
I remember that. I feel like I remember that. And I think Sarah Paulson says it.
Okay. It checks out.
I had a feeling it was a...
Thanks,
quote,
Roger.
but I don't
Thanks,
know.
Roger Ebert.
Oh, fuck, I forgot to check what he thought of the film.
He loved it. I'm Roger Ebert. I love movies. There you go. That was his review.
I can read the next comment of Roger Ebert.
Fun fact, just before we go. Roger Ebert, great film critic, most well-known film critic.
That's a nice thing you've ever said about him.
Hold on. Love the movie. I think it's because Ewan McGregor baked him a bunch of cookies and gave it to him. Because, fun fact, the movie Race to Witch Mountain that has Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, he gave it a positive review, mainly in part because he met The Rock, who gave him homemade cookies. And he gave the movie a positive review. But at the same time, Kaz, if you saw a movie with The Rock in it, and you had to judge it, and then you met him, and he gave you cookies, Wouldn't you give it a 5-star?
Yeah, for sure.
Exactly.
Who are
Hit
we
us,
kidding?
Bartek. Give us
The last
come
YouTube
on.
comment.
Hit us. Oh, it better be the most Shakespearean of all of them.
Yeah.
With the rhythm and everything. What's that called again? The
Beats.
the
tetrameter? Iambic tetrameter?
yeah, Shakespeare. You know the
Oh, yeah.
It's a writing term.
pandemic of acting lessons have not affected us over the years.
Birdemic pendameter.
Okay, the birdemic pendameter.
Bloody Shakespeare.
Crap film, and so was The Bank Job. Stand-up comedians, they're not funny. Friends, what a load of crap. Grown men wearing trainers, women with tattoos horrible, toddlers with earrings. That's why mums go to...
Mums go to where?
What?
Mums go to where? Mums go where?
I should have read this comment before I read it.
You should read. Mums go where?
That's why moms go to Iceland.
I don't understand what movie they watched. Now, that was a surprising comment. But Bartek, you have someone who...
Went to Iceland, yeah.
IMDb is a great place to look because no one actually kind of looks at the reviews on iTunes.
IMDb.
IMDb. I'm getting all
IMDb.
IMDb. So it's kind of like people having weird conversations with themselves on there sometimes, and then sometimes you get a real review. What have we got today? Have we got someone from this dimension or another? You have to read it again to remember.
I know, I picked this like only a few hours ago.
Bartek's memory is like a sieve.
For this one, I'm just going to block my nose and read it.
Oh, so your cat's okay.
Oh my god, that's my couch.
The title of this review is... How does a movie that's trying to be over the top manage to go over the top of over the top? It's from the 13th of... Why am I reading this? I'll read the
Why
actual
not?
thing. It's from the 13th of September 2003, and it's a 7 out of 10 review.
Oh, decent.
Very decent.
Pretty decent.
Deuce.
All right, finger.
She can do all the accents.
I was meant to review... I just realised I was meant to do my review in the accent. In Ewan McGregor's accent.
Oh.
Forgot.
Oh,
I thought
wow.
of it during the thing, and then I was like, oh,
Tough shit. Too late
moment
now.
gone.
Moment gone. Bartek, how about you
continue.
doing in his accent?
No, I feel like you do something better.
I do Southern good, boy. I'm Kaz. I do boys.
I do boys with accents.
Yet I look like a little boy. With your haircut. You have a little boy's haircut. I love it. Your hairdresser must be listening to this podcast getting notes. Being like,
Probably.
doesn't like red.
Yeah.
Ryan doesn't like little boy haircuts.
All right, I'll give it a go with the accent.
Go on.
So just to remind you, the title of this review is How Does a Movie That's Trying to Be Over the Top Manage to Go Over the Top of Over the Top?
Okay. Let's hear it.
Barbara Novak, Renee Zellweger, is the author of the... Oh, that wasn't Southern, was it?
That was
Author?
something. Author.
Is the author of the book Down with Love. Catcher Block, Ewan McGregor. Who the hell comes up with these names?
Yeah,
Isn't-
Ewan McGregor's a weird name. I'll give him that.
Who the hell comes up with all these names is an all-star reporter. Since his boss Peter McManus, David Hyde Pierce, wants to get some action from Vicky Huller, Sarah Paulson, he tries to set up an interview for Barbara by Catcher. As she is repeatedly blown off for the interview, but I'm just gonna put this closer to myself.
You could do it in your normal accent if you want, Southern boy.
I can't do a Scottish.
Scottish. That's what I said.
Well, because I was being Ewan McGregor.
Oh, yes, that's right. It makes sense. It's being Ewan. Read us.
As she is repeatedly blown off for the interview, Barbara...
It reminds me of your Billy Connolly impression.
Yep. That's my response, yep. That was 2 years ago, Jesus.
Fuck. That was like 14 times after we asked Kaz to come on the show and she
14 months.
cancelled last minute.
Cancelling Kaz is what they call me.
That's actually what they call her. All the boys cancelling Kaz.
just cancelling.
They just cancelled her.
After she's repeatedly blown off for the interview, Barbara gets more and more frustrated, attacking Catcher on national television, which leads to an underhanded feud for most of the rest of the movie. In case you couldn't get the subtle jokes, here is the short order. In this scene, Catcher and Barbara will seem to be talking on the phone, but what they're really doing is feigning sex acts. In this scene, Catcher and Barbara will seem to be talking about something that isn't sex, but what they're really talking about is sex. In this scene, Catcher and Barbara will seem to be using innuendo, but what they're really doing is annihilating innuendo with a full nuclear onslaught.
Wow.
As ridiculous...
It makes sense, because at the start of the movie, there was people protesting the bomb.
True.
So they're linking it in. I can see.
As ridiculousness is heaped on top of ridiculousness, the movie totally overshoots its original intentions of parodying 1960s sex comedy genre and instead parodies itself.
Wow. Thank you, Mr. Man.
Wow.
Who changed accents?
Kaz,
Wasn't
the
me.
show is over now. We're going to have to say goodbye to the audience, the listening people.
Oh.
I know,
Sad.
it's a sad thing, but it was such a pleasure to finally have you on. We've been trying to get Kaz on for years, and Kaz
Actual
would
years.
cancel, like, last minute, which is the doggest of dog acts that any dog could do. And eventually I was just like, I just can't ask Kaz on anymore. And then I was just like, oh, fuck it. One more. Let's do it again, baby. And I lied to Bartek about who our guest was going to be because I didn't want to seem like a fucking idiot when Kaz eventually cancelled. But then Kaz showed up and
Yeah.
the movie showed up to being great.
Yeah. It's
Kaz-
been a win-win-win.
You have to keep coming back on.
Yeah,
We're gonna have to
alright.
come. Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to do some weird movie with you. You did a nice normal movie. We're gonna have to do something really weird.
Great.
I love weird stuff. You guys at home, you showed up. That's pretty good.
Thanks for showing up.
You have been fantastic, amazing, wonderful listening people. Bartek, a pleasure as always to be hosting with you.
Thank you.
Goodbye, concluding friend.
Yes, this was the conclusion
The
of
con-
my character arc.
Your character arc of being a friend.
Yep.
Now you're gonna be my enemy.
That's the next season, next generation.
If you guys want to support us, we have no money for you to give to us. But we have no money giving services, but we do have iTunes. You can give us a rating and review on there. The more you do that, the more people are going to be like, hey, I want to give these guys a go. Maybe Kaz will give a great rating and review on iTunes where she'll give her review will be titled, I finally did it. and then
Maybe I
the
will.
review will be like, an average podcast at best, runs a bit over length, but if anything, worth a laugh. Listening to it by myself is often lonely, but it feels like I have friends. 3 stars.
And
It was a great day.
But Ryan, so what if you can't go on iTunes for whatever reason?
Well, we are on Spotify, we're
Oh.
on Podbean, we're
Oh.
on Stitcher, we're
Oh.
on iHeartRadio now. I know. We've got a YouTube page.
What?
You know,
You're
we're on the
everywhere.
social medias,
jeez,
baby.
wow.
We're on the Facebook, we're on the Twitter. If you want to give us an email, we've got an email, spit and polished at gmail.com. If you want to give us an email and be like, that Kaz lady, where's her Tinder? I want to get on that
Right?
spider web. And I'll be like, no thanks.
Dude, I was ready.
I'm not her pimp.
I was ready to
Aren't you?
roast you about oh, if you're not on iTunes, what are you gonna do? And you're gonna be like, well, nothing. But you had a full answer for
I have
me.
full answers.
There's
Wow.
so many options.
Google Play, we're on that too, which
What?
is kind of funny because Australia doesn't allow us to play podcasts on Google Play, so I had to be tricky and pretend to be an American.
Next,
so-
you're gonna tell me that
An
we're on a
American.
random Spanish site that doesn't have the first 20-something episodes.
Yeah, that's right. We're on a Spanish.
What?
We're on a Spanish streaming one. I don't know why.
I know I'm playing facetious, but actually, what?
What?
What is that site?
And we're the only podcast that I listen to that's on there as well. Like, there's other podcasts, but no ones I listen to, so I don't know. You guys, as always, have been fantastic, amazing, wonderful. Until next time, remember to be kind to each other.
Alright. I should actually give a proper conclusion to a conclusive friend, shouldn't I?
Go on.
Alright, Ryan, give him a compliment.
You've been a good boy.
Thank you. And then his eyes close, he smiles, fade to white, the end.
Finn. It's
Or
Finn.
The fin.
That's how art. No. Then Finn ... question mark, and then cut to black, credits play, then hard cut to the end of the credits, and you've got a post-credit scene where Bartek walks in with a big coat, and you know he's an asshole now.
And then that fades to black, then it fades back in, I'm having a duet with no one.
with Kaz. And she's
A
wearing a
musical
big
number.
coat too.
And everyone's like, who is this character in this story? Also, why is this a movie? I thought it was just a stupid running thing on a podcast that he did for a few episodes.
There you go. Enjoy your big coat, big boy.
It was a good conclusion, though, wasn't it?
Yeah.